let's check because it normally gives like takes a minute or so for everything else to come back up.
Pretty much. We don't have the 2-minute stall that the church has.
No.
Is it 2 minutes? I think
4
it's 2 minutes.
4 minutes. No, are you talking about the
So like-
buffer in between or the clock?
The how long from when it's said to when it's actually shows up on the stream?
Oh, a couple of seconds.
Yeah. Okay, I got Facebook saying it's going. I think I heard Twitch go off.
Oh, Twitch
I
too.
did hear Twitch go off. I'm muting that. That just leaves YouTube.
Hold on, just double check.
I know you're sending stuff.
Yeah. Let's see. No, what? Shut up.
Okay, YouTube is live also.
Okay, good deal. What I was doing, you see, here our delay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, our delay
It-
on Facebook is like a couple of a few seconds. But either
That's about what we expect.
yeah.
All right, so hi guys. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. What's up, guys?
This is Drew,
This is Jake.
and we're crazy.
If you haven't noticed that in the last 4 seasons, be like, yeah, we're kind of cuckoo for animation.
Yeah. And we are finally doing a sequel to our very first episode,
4 years later.
which is also a sequel to a reactions episode we did the same year. Yeah, same year.
Yeah.
Before COVID.
Yeah. Thanks,
That
guys.
puts BC in a whole new light now that I think about it.
It does.
But
It doesn't
that'll
replace it, but
that will
it's
confuse
on-
people though.
Yes.
Anywho,
Yeah.
I already said I'm Drew and you already said you're Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we will be starting very soon.
Yeah. Let people flow in if they want to.
Yeah, give them a little bit of time.
Yeah.
I will mention this when we get started on the show itself, but we are slightly moving the format around this time so that we can kind of just jump straight into the reviews for those of y'all who really just want to hear what we think about certain movies.
Thank you, Roy.
It was his suggestion. It was not a requirement.
Oh,
He did not say, make this change or you're no longer in Culture Box. That was never said.
I know. Be like, I'm more thinking him for his suggestion, not a demand, not a director.
But you said Roy, so I'm thinking that's a bit sarcastic. Oh, thank you, Roy. Nah, I'm teasing mostly.
Mostly, okay. Oh my gosh, but yeah, this can be fun. There again, we did this movie for the first time 4 years ago. And
It was like our second reaction.
Oh, Frozen 2. Oh,
Frozen 2, I think, because
Frozen 2 was our second reaction.
yeah, because Lion King live action Lion King was technically the first,
Oh, okay.
and we did not do another one until Frozen 2, I believe.
I think so. Could be wrong. Don't be like.
I could be wrong on that. Yeah.
If we are wrong, please let us know in the comments.
We
down below.
just-
You actually did this first. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Admittedly, I barely remember what we said last week.
That is true. Kind of
I barely remember what I said yesterday.
So to kind of quote what Drew said in the first season, in one of the newer bumpers that was created for the intro was that we have a tendency of saying the wrong names. We have a tendency of forgetting names.
Oh, I didn't.
things.
I'm gonna screw that up tonight. Also, I guarantee it, because I'm not gonna think about it. I'm just gonna say blah 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 blah. Anna blah 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 blah. Nope, Anna.
Anna.
Whatever.
Oh man, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this new season. And
Oh, yes.
new adventure.
We do have one guest scheduled for next week, so that'll be fun. Normally, I try not to schedule two Disney films this close together, but this is about the only way it would work.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing.
Well, one's obviously traditional.
One's Walt Disney Animation. The other is Disney Theatric. Or is it just called Disney?
Walt Disney.
Walt Disney Pictures, maybe.
Walt Disney Pictures.
I know all the studios have technically have different names.
Yeah, it's
And I think the live
Buena
action,
Vista, I believe.
well, like Buena Vista does all the distribution.
Not really, not anymore.
Well, they used to. Hang on, I am just.
They've changed the name of the company.
They do this all the time.
Agreed.
The Disney part of Kingdom Hearts has been published by the following companies, and yes, I do know this.
Of course.
Disney Interactive,
Uh-huh.
Buena Vista Games,
Mhm.
Walt Disney Interactive
Hmm.
Studios,
Yeah.
and then finally just said, you know what, Square Enix, we'll just license it to you. Y'all can publish it.
Completely, utterly fair.
So yeah, that Disney can't leave well enough alone with their own schemes.
No, they can't.
But I am going to look this up right quick because I am now actually curious since neither one of us have researched this part yet. So I can't just say, well, go check your notes.
Those notes have not been created yet.
Exactly.
Future us.
Okay, it's just Walt Disney Pictures.
Okay.
So it must be that the live action stuff is just Walt Disney Pictures.
Is that production or distribution?
Just says pictures. I'm only looking at production kind of because distribution was Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures, which used to be called Buena Vista Entertainment.
Yes.
This is not as bad as Disney Toon Studios, which has had more names than it's had films.
True. And some of those are whoppers.
Yeah.
Atlantis 2, anybody? Just saying.
Yay. That's actually going to come up when we get to trivia.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we've said it before when we've talked about Disney stuff. Most of the Walt Disney animation canon does not have sequels that are also in canon. This is only the fourth.
That's true. That is so true.
That's going to come up again later.
Yeah, oddly enough, one of the I think it was the second series we reviewed, our first and second, or whatever, Tangled series or Rapunzel Tangled Adventure.
That is technically Walt Disney television animation.
Yes.
Or Disney television or something to that effect.
Yeah. Yeah, I found something out because, like, in the Walt Disney parks, so if someone was to walk up as a character from one of those, one of Tangled or Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, be like the characters won't react to the character as a fellow character. It'll just be like, oh, you're a guest.
Yeah.
Be like, they will not recognize the character, which I found interesting.
Technically, only kids are supposed to be actually dressed in costume at the park. So they suggest they require that adults not actually be dressed up because
confuse kids.
Right. It's like because they want to make sure that the kids are having the magical experience. They don't want to see. They try to keep at least only one version of a character in an area at the same time, so you don't see like Cinderella walking on the castle steps and then for some reason walking through I'm trying to think what's near there that would make sense for Cinderella to be going through. But you know what I mean. They don't want characters from the same characters walking through multiple locations at the park at the same time.
I don't know how this guest got away with it, but they did.
Well, there is apparently. Don't ask me why I know this. I've just you know how YouTube goes. You're watching something and you learn random stuff because I'm curious of the logistics of how this rides works at Walt Disney World based on what this person's actually been able to research since Disney won't publish anything themselves. And all of a sudden you get another thing. So I'm like, I don't know, Disney Food Blog or something like that. And it tells you something else cool. And I remember during one, automatically shift you off to some other video while you're busy with something. And it was talking about how since you're not allowed to wear park, there are ways you can kind of cosplay light, where you're wearing regular clothes, but obviously this is Cinderella themed or Snow White themed or something like that. Yeah. It's similar, but it's obviously not. You're not walking around Walt Disney World in a Disney princess dress.
Yeah. I think there's certain times of the year, like definitely during.
I don't know. Straight to Disney Princess. I guess because that's brought up because we're the Disney Princess movie we're about
It
to
is.
review. That has to be part of it. So I continue looking through here. Technically, Walt Disney Pictures, yeah, is the live action one, but sometimes it will also use Walt Disney Pictures as being over Walt Disney Animation
Yes,
Studios. So yeah, I'm sure it's just one product. It's one's not. You know how this goes.
Yes.
Technically, there's only 3 animation studios apparently at Disney right now, which is Walt Disney Animation Studios, the long running one,
Mm-hmm.
Pixar,
Yeah,
and 20th Century Animation.
Yeah.
What happened to Disney Toon?
Huh, I wonder what.
Now, granted, this is just under film production,
Yeah.
so it could be that Disney Toon is like under this Walt Disney television stuff now, because they mostly do Walt Disney television animation now.
Right.
But technically, they would have been involved with the animated parts of Disenchanted, I would assume. I assume there are animated parts of Disenchanted. There are animated parts of Enchanted.
True.
So I assume. I don't know what assume means.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway. Oh, no. Disney Toon Studios transferred. No, Disney Toon Studios closed down in 2018.
That's sad to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. And Marvel Animation technically shut down in 2020, but that one had only been around since 2019, so they probably barely did anything.
That is true. Now we got to just
because then it went into Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
Because it transferred from Marvel Television to Marvel Studios.
Right.
When, yeah, all that stuff.
Now we're just gonna wait until see what Bob Iger does.
You never know.
Yeah. With the big news announcement that came out, I think it was like early this week. And so we'll get into that in news later. But yeah, it's like, okay, it seems like they're pulling a Warner Brothers Discovery.
Well, at least we did have some information come out of the Warner Brothers Discovery stuff. Not that this is a normal thing we would talk about on the show. So it's a good thing we haven't actually started the show yet.
Right.
You're welcome, patrons. But we did find out what the deal with Batgirl was and why they canceled it.
That's right.
It was actually a piece of crap film.
That's what I can hear.
It's like, well, I kind of was afraid it was, but you know me, I'm still of the thoughts like, if it was close enough to release, just release it and just don't advertise it.
Yeah.
Let the people who want to sit through the garbage sit through the garbage. You know?
Just put it on HBO Max, let people watch it.
Yeah. But then considering how much they took off HBO Max for one reason or another.
Right.
Do you know most of the Warner Brothers cartoons disappeared off of HBO Max?
I heard something about that.
Yeah, because of an internal licensing running out. I'm like, internal licensing? You all own the freaking stuff. Just let it go on HBO Max and let it go somewhere else too. Whatever.
What did they take off?
Like all the stuff we think of as Looney Tunes. Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, that era of stuff. The really old stuff, like I don't know the names of the characters because that's just before my era, but like the 20s and 30s era stuff,
really,
that's still there.
But
because most of that now is public domain, and no one really cares what happens to it.
Right. But they took Looney Tunes off.
But they took the stuff that people would actually watch. Now, granted, the new Looney Tunes cartoon show, it's still on there. The Looney Tunes show that was on Cartoon Network back in the day, it's still on there. Baby Looney Tunes is still on there. Tiny Toons and Animaniacs, I think, are still on there. The old Animaniacs, not the new version that was on Hulu, because Hulu will have the rights to that for a little bit. Ashley says she can barely hear you. Thank you, Ashley, for letting me know.
Wow.
I had his thing. The one time I did not check audio levels.
That happens. Thank you,
That
Ashley.
was not intentional. You know that.
Yeah.
We're
Rough.
too busy here talking.
Yes. Be like you never know. I could have barked. You could have picked it up.
That would be my luck.
Exactly.
I still want to catch that. Not because I want to hold it over your head, make fun of you or anything like that. You know that.
You'll
It's
just make it
I
into a
want
clip.
on there one day, and then I could just throw it in there at random intervals and just see who catches it.
Oh
I-
gosh.
I have a 10. Okay,
Go.
last Monday
Mm-hmm.
I was streaming Legend of Zelda: Breath of the
I
Wild.
saw
on our
that,
channel,
yes.
and I think I was checking something, and I ended up turning your mic down so there wouldn't be echo.
That makes sense.
between here and there,
Right.
and I apparently forgot to turn it back up.
Thank you,
So
Ashley.
yeah,
Awesome.
thank you, Ashley. I appreciate that. Now that we've got a couple people in there and it's been 15 minutes, you want
Yes.
to get started on this?
Yeah, let's do that.
Deelit, give me an intro, please. Deelit, give me an intro, please.
The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who just feels like taking a trip into the unknown. Welcome, Jacob.
Thanks, I guess. Why, thank you. Let me use our co-host, a man who simply just got himself lost in the woods one day and just kind of went out of the picture. Welcome, Drew.
I still don't know why they decided to have him disappear from the movie for half an hour.
We'll get into that a
We'll
little bit
get there
later when we get there.
While I'm waiting for the audio to finish playing, apparently I've got another minute for that. We are changing, now that we are fully into season 4, we are, brain farted. We are changing our format up slightly at the suggestion of a listener.
Well, thank you, Roy.
Yeah, those who know what that means will know what that means. And so for those of you who would prefer us just to jump into the movie, in case you don't really care about, what we've been watching, the news, all that kind of stuff, we're gonna jump straight into the movie review. So yeah. Spoiler-free thoughts. If this was the
Yeah.
Actually, I can play it now, and I think it'll stop it. Hang on.
Certified fresh and spoiler free.
So this is my second time to watch this film.
Really?
Yes. And do you know when the first time was?
In theaters?
On our reaction.
Yes.
So,
4 years ago.
yes. For those of you who are not aware, the Frozen franchise is not my favorite franchise that Disney's ever done. I mean, let's face it. The entire reason I agreed for Frozen to be our first episode is you gave me the greatest pun that could be laid. It's like, it's a great icebreaker.
Yes.
And you told me that, and I said, I can't let that pass.
Mm-hmm.
I have to use that. And that's only going to work on episode 1. It won't work on other episodes.
Darn, I was going to do another icebreaker.
But anyway.
Anyways.
Yeah, I remember us having a good time watching it that night.
Mhm.
Watching it this time, it's a lot shorter than I remembered.
Uh-huh.
In my mind, this was, I know it's like an hour and a half
Yeah.
film. In my mind, it was like a full blown, there was a lot of space in the story, not dead space, but a lot more further spaced out. Like it took a while to get to different things.
It took it paced
was-
itself story wise.
Right. And I watch it this time and I go, wait, are we almost done with the film? An hour into it? I thought there's a certain point in here that I thought, well, wait a minute, we're getting to this scene entirely too early. And I'm not going to say what that scene is because we're in the spoiler-free section.
Right.
But I mean, a certain snowman was in danger of melting, let's say. That doesn't really spoil
No,
anything.
it doesn't spoil anything.
Wait, this is happening in the fall. Of course he was in danger of melting. He'd been in danger of melting this whole time.
Yeah, for a film that came out in 2019.
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah.
But there was a point when that point came up in the episode or in the movie. I'm like, hang on, we just discovered where all this stuff was. This is like we were just a third of the way through the movie. Why are we near the last quarter? And it's like because there wasn't. We weren't at the last third. We were at 2/3. Because memories and such. And plus,
Yes.
at that time, I think we even had the night we were watching this theater. We had audio issues in that theater.
Oh yes, we did. Oh my
Because,
gosh.
this is the same theater we would end up watching Rise of Skywalker in, and had the same audio issues.
Yeah, it would just be like audio was
That
going
was-
everywhere. It was
The theater is not like that now. They have fixed whatever
they
caused
have.
that problem.
yes.
But at the time, it was like, I can barely hear what they're saying over the music. But either way, it's actually a lot faster than I was remembering it was.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to blame that on that, because I think I was more engaged. Well, at this point, I'm not sitting back going, I wonder where they're going with this plot point. I wonder where they're going with this plot point, because this time I watched and go, yeah, I know why you've got to go to the north. I know what's going to happen. And so I was watching for those little interconnections.
Right.
But this time it just seemed to go a lot faster, because it's like, I wasn't guessing where they were going with this, trying to double guess.
Yeah.
Also, I was remembered of things I realized, like when it happened when I first watched it,
Yeah.
like, the fact that the reaction episode is called The Fifth Element.
Yes.
I remembered that and why I said that the minute it
Yes.
shows up.
yes.
So yeah, I guess it's just, since I wasn't trying to figure out what was going to happen,
Right.
it just went faster for me. But other than that, I think it is better than the first movie, which might be heresy for some people.
Dun, dun, dun.
Maybe, I don't know. I will still say that Tangled is still a better film than this.
Amen to that, brother. Amen to that.
But this is not. This is still a good fun film. I guess my main issue with the Frozen franchise in general is that the super fans won't let it go. Pun intended. No, it's just any amount of good the first movie has for me is drowned out by the hype noise.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's so overplayed.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little bit better. For one thing, it's not as overplayed. B, all the music in this is good. It's almost like a rock musical or rock opera. That's what they call it.
Yeah, it's somewhat.
The
Yeah.
first one's more of a regular musical.
Yeah.
This is almost a rock opera.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, it's so fun, and I think a lot of the characters do have better characterization in this film than I think they did in the first.
right.
But those are just my thoughts. If you're wondering to know if you wanted to, if you should go watch it, if you've watched the first movie, definitely. If you've not watched the first movie, watch it first before you watch this one, because
Exactly.
there's too many elements of Frozen 1 you really need to know about before you watch this one. Plus, even though I still didn't do this, there's 2 shorts
Mhm.
that technically happen in between these.
Yep. Frozen
some-
Fever.
Frozen
and
Fever, and the one that
Olaf's-
showed in front of Coco.
Olaf's Amazing Adventure.
Something like that.
Something like that. It's not
And
a
I
short. It's a half short.
It's a half
movie.
hour, and they played it before Coco, and that's the only reason I originally watched it, was because I went to see Coco in a theater,
Mm.
and I had to sit through half an hour of, I'm Olaf, I like warm hugs, and I need to figure out what on earth he was trying to figure out in that episode. In that
Yeah.
thing. I don't even remember what he was trying to figure out.
And now there's even another short that's
Oh,
out.
and there's a whole series of him describing
The other Disney
all
films.
the other Disney films. It's like, that is brilliant in and of itself.
I agree. I agree.
You can go watch that without watching Frozen, and it's, if you've seen
Thank you,
this
Paul.
film where he gives the quick description of what happened in Frozen 1, he does that with all the other was like, not all of them, but like 5 or 6 of them, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I haven't seen him yet.
you haven't. You need
No,
to.
I haven't.
And I also forgot to show you something last week, and I'll probably forget to do it this week. But besides the point,
This will be a reminder for him to show me that.
if I remember to when we get done with the movie, the episode, our episode today.
There we go. There we go.
I didn't remember it last week. Why would I remember it this week? Anyway, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so Frozen 2, unlike the first one, I did not see this movie 3 times in theaters. I will fully admit I saw Frozen 1 in theaters 3 times. 3 times. That's the 3. Which be like, I guess I was just more like I really enjoyed the film, but there again, Tango's better. Tango's a far better movie than this
Oh yes.
than the first one. The second one, there again, we did for the reaction,
Mm-hmm.
and I was going to watch it anyway. So I enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed it tremendously. I think over time, after it's marinated a little bit, and like you've got to know its foibles and its the problems with the movie. And after watching the documentary that Disney put out for the making of Frozen 2, you understand more of what was going on
Mhm.
behind the scenes. I might have a little more negative things to say about the film. Be like, it's a fun story. It's a little bit of a rush story. I would say the music's great. Music is wonderful.
It's a lot more rushed than I remembered it.
Yeah, it's a lot more of a rush story. And there's things that be like are not fully fleshed out. And overall, I enjoyed the film. I don't be like from my first reaction, my thoughts on the film has changed slightly. Definitely over the past 4 years of being a reviewer.
Oh yeah.
And so it's kind of tuned you into like picking up on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'll get into that when we get into the spoiler section of this film. But I enjoyed the film for what it is. It's got great animation. It's got great all this amazing stuff. It does have problems as a film, but we will get there when we get there.
I will say there's one little. This is not really a spoiler,
Mm-hmm.
but there's one disappointing thing that occurs in this film. That's more of a missed opportunity.
Okay.
There's a character in this film named Ryder, and he's not voiced by Zachary Levi.
You're right. You're right.
That's sad. That's a missed opportunity. I know you had access to him. You are still making Tangled the series at this point. Yeah, she could have just had him say, "Hey, while we're in the middle of this, please just record these couple of lines so you can play Ryder in two different things."
Yeah, just a different writer.
Yes.
Interesting.
But anyway, you ready to jump into the full spoiler-filled
Yeah,
part
let's
here?
do that.
All right, let's do that. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Frozen 2. Listener discretion is advised. Frozen 2 was written and directed by Chris Buck, who also directed Surf's Up. You know, where Shia LaBeouf played a surfing penguin.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing little bits of that film. It's like wasn't that good.
I need to put that on the list. I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
And not during Bad Movie Month. It's not a great movie, but it's not Bad Movie Month material.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And also Jennifer Lee, who also she worked on Wreck-It Ralph.
She did.
I don't remember if she just wrote it or if she also was in charge of directing it, but she did write at least on Wreck-It Ralph.
Right.
It was also written by Mark Smith, Kristen Anderson Lopez, Robert Lopez, and Allison Schroeder. Though I believe both the Lopez's were primarily in the music department when it comes to writing.
They were. Well,
I mean-
no, I would take that back. They were credited for some of the writing.
Right. Probably because how well the music in this is
Mhm.
integrated into the rest of it.
Yes.
So I would definitely count that.
Mm-hmm.
Is of course the story is inspired by The Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to say inspired because while the first movie kind of was an adaptation, this is definitely not.
Yeah, definitely loose.
Very, very loose. Getting into the cast, we've got Kristen Bell playing Anna, who played Veronica Mars in Veronica Mars.
You actually said it right.
We'll see how long that lasts.
Yes.
Idina Menzel, who voiced Elsa, and she voiced Nancy Tremaine in Enchanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you're going to bring it up. She was Elphaba on the Broadway version of what is the name of that movie? Wicked. I was like,
It's Elphaba.
Whatever. In my mind, I nearly just said Spirited Away. So I would have been completely wrong.
Yeah, a little bit wrong. Just a little bit.
Speaking of which, I don't know if remind me that I've got something possibly in the news when we get there.
Okay.
Josh Gad voiced Olaf,
Mm-hmm.
and he was Hector McQueen in Murder on the Orient Express.
Hmm.
That was I think he worked for he worked for one of the of course he was one of I'm not spoiling that movie, but he worked for one of the people who was a suspect, and he himself was also a suspect for doing the murder on the Orient Express.
That's right. That was actually a really good movie. We did a review on that years ago.
Jonathan Groff voiced Christoph,
Mm-hmm.
and he played Smith in The Matrix Resurrections. That's the fourth one.
Oh,
I had
Okay.
to double check.
wow! I didn't
Because
think
I
about that.
Because I was like, it's Smith? He's not I can't think of his name.
The new one. The new one.
Yeah,
Okay.
The newest one.
The
Number
newest
4.
one. Okay. The fourth one.
Yeah,
That
he
apparently
was
didn't
not-
do well.
That's why it said Smith and not Agent Smith.
Yeah. Mr.
Mr.
Anderson.
Anderson, you must take this ring to I know I said Death Mountain. That's Zelda.
Death-
Mount Doom. Take the ring of power to Mount Doom. Good night.
And get me out of the Matrix.
Curling K. Brown voiced Matthias,
Mm-hmm.
and he played Njobu in Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
That's where I recognize him from.
Evan Rachel Wood played Iduna, and she played Madonna in Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
Oh,
I still
okay.
need to see that.
Of course. I mean, like, I'm not saying I'm shocked, but it's more like ever since how big of a fan you are of
The-
Weird Al.
But the reason I've not watched it yet,
Yeah.
I don't have the Roku channel.
Oh,
and
oh.
that's where it's
Oh, okay.
exclusive at the moment still.
I gotcha.
Alfred Molina played Agnar, and he was Dr. Otto Octavius in 2 Spider-Man films.
Uh-huh. And you know who he's married to?
That would be Martha Plimpton, who was Yelena. She played Steph in The Goonies. This is the one who played Yelena is the wife. This is the queen, right?
Yes, but who is Alfred Molina married to in real life?
That's what I mean. I think
No, he's married to Jennifer Lee.
that makes sense too. In my mind, I made a connection. Oh, he's married to the queen. That makes sense. I thought the actors were married. I thought this was a Mickey Minnie situation, okay?
Oh my gosh, this is so good.
Anyway,
Continue.
Jason Ritter played Ryder,
Oh.
and he is also the voice of Dipper Pines in Gravity Falls.
Oh, okay. Ooh, interesting. Yeah.
Rachel Matthews played Honey Marin, and in the movie franchise of Happy Death Day, she plays the character of Danielle Boseman.
Okay.
That's about the only thing I recognized that she was in besides
Oh.
Frozen. So sorry about that.
Ah.
Jeremy Sisto played King Runard, and in Batman versus Robin, he played Talon. That's
Oh.
the animated one.
Yeah, that's right.
Ciaran Hines, who played Pobby,
Mhm.
also
Poppy?
Pobby.
Poppy or Potty?
Pobby.
Pobby.
P-A-B-B-I-E.
Oh,
Pobby.
Potty. Okay.
Not Potty. Pobby.
Poppy. Okay.
The leader of the trolls. Okay?
Yeah, okay. I thought it was Poppy.
Nope, it's Pobby.
Potty. Okay. Well, never mind.
Moving on. He was Steppenwolf in both versions of Justice League.
Really?
Yeah. He did the same voice, even though I think the characters are designed entirely differently.
Yeah.
But he played the voice. in
Oh,
both
okay.
of them.
Okay. I haven't seen the
haven't
Snyder the Snyder
I
cut yet.
have not sat through the 4 hours of it either. No.
Oh.
And Alan Tudyk was the voice of the guard, the
Yeah.
Northuldra leader, the Arendelian soldier, and the Duke of Weaselton.
Wesselton.
I said it that way on purpose.
Oh, I know. And he plays a weasel
Yeah.
in Zootopia.
And he was Wash in Firefly.
Yes, he was. He's a very, very great actor.
Now, I want you to make a guess.
Okay.
How many Kingdom Hearts connections do I actually
Oh my
have?
gosh.
I don't just mean the obvious cameos. This
Of course.
was
Of course.
as there is a Frozen level in Kingdom Hearts 3.
I would probably give a very large guess, probably 10. Was I close?
You are close. You're actually 2 off.
Oh,
It was 12.
12. Okay.
Of those 12, only four are actual cameos, being, of course, Jonathan Groff, Kristen Bell, Idina Menzel, and Josh Gad reprising their roles from the film. Also, Robert Atkin Downs, who was additional voices here,
Mm-hmm.
played both Davy Jones and Luxord in Kingdom Hearts.
Huh.
Jessica DeCiso. I'm not sure how you say your name there, Jessica. I apologize. But she was additional voices here, and she played the character of Olette in Kingdom Hearts.
Mm.
Matt Nolan was additional voices here, and he played Prince Charming in Kingdom Hearts.
Really?
David Boat was additional voices here, and he played Elias and Lexius in Kingdom Hearts.
Hmm.
Kari Walgreen, also additional voices here. Actually, I'm just going to say it for here. Everyone I've got listed now in here, besides those first four, they did additional voices. That's all they're listed as.
Oh, okay.
Kari Walgreen is the voice of the Grid from the Tron Legacy level in Kingdom Hearts 2, Dream Drop Distance.
Okay.
That was Dream Drop Distance. Phil Lamar, that's a name we've said couple times recently. He was Phoebus in Kingdom Hearts. Fred Tatasciore.
That name sounds familiar.
Should, because he's Lieutenant Shax on Star Trek.
That's right.
Among many other people.
Yes.
He is both Kevin Flynn and Clue in the Tron Legacy level in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance.
Oh, okay.
The sad thing is, this means I'm not going to be bringing these names up next week.
Okay.
I actually don't know how many actual Kingdom Hearts connections I have.
Wow.
But Max Middleman also was Lushu in Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, okay.
Which brings me to the end of my cast list.
Okay, so I wanted to bring something up real fast.
Okay.
So I know another famous actor who's gotten this singer voice actor's name wrong before. So I'm curious because I've heard you say it twice already. So how do you say the voice actress for Elsa? How do you say her name?
I said Idina Menzel.
Idina,
yeah.
Okay, I've heard it both something like Idina Menzel. That's what I've heard. I
am just going off of what I'm saying because I can't tell you if I've actually heard someone say her name out loud.
Yeah.
Idina makes sense to me, but then I'm also from Ice, Texas.
Texas.
We would say Idina. If it is Idina, my apologies. You know what?
I'm just playing with you, dude. I'm just playing with you.
Give me a mark right quick. We're gonna.
Oh gosh.
We are gonna find this out.
You're welcome, patrons.
Oh, I'm gonna cut back in once I have it. Saying it the correct way.
There again, I'm giving him a hard time. Let's just say that. No, of course not. Like we don't give each other a hard time during this.
Oh, they didn't say her name. They probably do at the end, but
probably.
Nope.
Oh, that's Wicked. I still want to watch Wicked.
Wasn't it in Tyler recently?
Huh?
Wasn't Wicked in Tyler recently?
I wish.
Thank you so much for coming back on the show.
I love your beard.
You do?
Yeah, you look very handsome.
This is a Jimmy Fallon clip.
It's the most masculine thing I've ever done.
I'm hoping he's going to say her name here in a second.
I've never been here in the chair.
Just singing, just performing?
Yeah,
On our show?
performed, and then I did the what do you call it?
Classroom instruments? I'll never forget.
Instruments.
That was such a big deal for us. We loved it.
That was your show.
You sang Let
What
It
number
Go.
was that? Show 11?
Brand new Tonight Show, yeah. When you came on to the salon. Not only that, by the way, when we aired it, it was the day after.
Well, yeah. Well, first of all, my name got screwed up, so just
Yeah.
I have to say that was cooler than at the Oscars.
Really? Really?
Well, first of all, my name got screwed up, so just kidding.
That was such a big deal. Adele Dazeem.
Yeah, no, that was the greatest
Adele
thing
Dazeem.
that ever happened to me, honestly. So I'm not gonna
John
lie.
Travolta.
John, we've had John Travolta on the show. And we
Should
talked
just
about
call
it.
her
It's
Adele
like,
Dazeem.
oh, it's embarrassing. Can we get over it, please?
Yeah, but then we came
He's a
here
good
and I played the triangle and you played I don't know what
But
you
also,
played.
usually they have me. I go in with an instrument or a
Okay.
drum or something.
I thought he would say, thank you, Idina, for being on or something like that.
Probably go to the very end of the interview.
Name pronunciation. Is it playing? Yeah, it's playing, but I ain't hearing nothing.
Chenoweth and
Adina.
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 Whichever.
Yeah. Whichever.
So Adele Dazeem. Yeah, that's I'm not gonna pronounce that, but that's actually not the funniest way ever to say that name. Yeah, we'll just say No, it's Idina Menzel.
Yeah.
I apparently at one of the Oscars the name got screwed up.
It did. I'd be
By
like,
John Travolta.
yes. Dina Menzel.
Idina Menzel.
Oh my gosh, the
That
tangents
is
we go on.
almost as bad as that news reporter who was trying to report on like a murder or something and came up, had to say this really big name that was like hard to pronounce and she couldn't figure out how to say it. And so live on television, she said Mega Doodoo as her last name. It's like, wow.
I get names wrong, but I'm not going to say that.
That's just bad. That's just bad. But yeah. What do we have in info and stuff?
All right. Besides
Adele Dazeem.
Adele Dazeem. Oh my gosh.
It was produced by Walt Disney Animation Studios.
Yes, no, it was produced by Warner Brothers.
Yes, Warner Brothers.
Yeah, there we go.
This is secretly a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, that's Sony.
Yeah, so info and stuff. IMDb, it has a 6.8 out of 10. Frozen, its predecessor, had a 7.4 out of 10. It's available to watch on Disney Plus. Production wise was Walt Disney Pictures and Walt Disney Animation Studio. Distribution was Walt Disney Studio Motion Pictures. Release date, it was originally released at the Dolby Theater on November 7th, 2019, and released broadly in the United States on November 22nd the same year. Box office, it had an estimated budget of $150 million. Its opening weekend for the United States and Canada was $130.2 million. That's a lot of money for an opener.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first film was very well liked, so
Yes.
it makes sense that opening weekend the theaters would have been crowded.
That is true. So its US and Canada gross was $477.3 million. Its worldwide gross was $1.4 billion. It actually beat out its predecessor with Frozen was $1.2 billion. So it actually succeeded higher than its predecessor, which I thought was very interesting.
Right.
So going into home entertainment, our home entertainment, Walt Disney Studios home entertainment released Frozen 2 for digital download on February 2nd, 2020, and on Blu-ray and DVD on February 25th. At the same time, a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray Ultimate Collector's Edition and also a 4K UHD Blu-ray Steelbook Edition was released. Special editions included a sing-along audio recording of the film, Easter-based short film hosted by Olaf, surprise, surprise, a presentation of a Nordic mythology of which the Enchanted Forest is based on, and many others. We didn't really get a behind-the-scenes thing, like, again, on what happened on the original Frozen. We had to wait until they had to release it on Disney Plus. If you haven't seen that six-part miniseries on Disney Plus, go check it out. Now, granted, if you have not seen the movie yet, go watch the movie first, then go watch the documentary. Just saying.
I suspect you have opinions.
I have opinions. I do.
You should probably watch the movie before you watch the
Yes.
making of anyway,
Yes.
but
All right, so let's see. The film it premiered on Disney Plus on June 28, 2020, and was moved up. Hold on. Let's see. It was moved up. Initially, it was going to be released on June 26, 2020, was moved up to March 15th, United States, and in March 17th in Canada, the Netherlands, Australia, and New Zealand due to the coronavirus pandemic. Thank you, Corona. Thanks, Corona. Sequel?
Tangle just didn't want it to go forward.
Yeah.
Bad joke. That is a bad joke.
Yeah, that's a bad joke. That's a bad joke. So, as of sequels, as of recently, Bob Iger, the newly reinstated CEO of the Walt Disney Company, has stated they are in production, or at least post-production, of Frozen 3. Maybe this time they'll give him more time to do the stinking movie.
Opinions do we have?
Yes, I have opinions.
I assume
Like-
we'll get more into that here in a
Yes,
bit.
we will. So yes, that is all I have for info and stuff.
All right, getting into the synopsis. King Agnar of Arendelle tells his daughters Elsa and Anna that their grandfather, King Runard, forged a treaty with the neighboring tribe of
Mhm.
Northuldra
Yes.
by building a dam in the Enchanted Forest, their
Mhm.
homeland. A fight occurred, resulting in Runard's death and enraging the forest's classical elements of earth, fire, water, and air. The elements disappeared, and a wall of mist trapped everyone in the forest. Agnar barely escaped, helped by an unknown savior. 3 years after her coronation, Elsa celebrates autumn in the kingdom with Anna and the snowman Olaf, the Iceman Kristoff, and Kristoff's reindeer Sven. One night, Elsa hears a mysterious voice calling her. She follows it, unintentionally awakening the elemental spirits and forcing everyone in the kingdom to evacuate. The rock troll colony arrives, and Grand Pobby tells them that Elsa and the others must set things right by uncovering the truth about the past. Elsa, Anna, Olaf, Kristoff, and Sven follow the mysterious voice and travel to the Enchanted Forest. The mist parts at Elsa's touch, while the air spirit appears as a tornado, catching everyone in its vortex before Elsa stops it by forming ice sculptures. She and Anna discover that the sculptures are images from their father's past and encourage the Northuldra and a troop of Arendellian soldiers who are still in conflict with one another. When the fire spirit appears, Elsa discovers that it is an agitated magical salamander and calms it. Elsa and Anna arrange a truce between the soldiers and Northuldra after discovering that their mother, Queen Iduna, was a Northuldran who had saved Agnar, an Arendellian. They later learn about a fifth spirit who will unite the people with their magic of nature. Elsa, Anna, and Olaf continue north, leaving Kristoff and Sven behind. They find their parents' wrecked ship and a map with a route to Atohallan, a mystical river said to explain the past. Elsa sends Anna and Olaf to safety and continues alone. She encounters and tames the Knock, the water spirit who guards the sea to Atohallan. Elsa discovers that the voice calling to her is the memory of young Iduna's call. Her powers are a gift from nature because of Iduna's selfless saving of Agnar, and Elsa is the fifth spirit. She learns that the dam was built as a ruse to reduce Northuldran resources because of Runard's contempt for the tribe's connection with magic and his intention to eliminate them and incorporate their region into the kingdom. Elsa learns that Runard began the conflict by murdering the unarmed Northuldran leader in cold blood. She sends the information to Anna before she becomes frozen, causing Olaf to fade away, when she ventures into the most dangerous parts of Atohallan. Upon discovering the truth, Anna concludes that the dam must be destroyed for peace to be restored. She awakens the earth giant Jotun and lures them towards the dam. The giants hurl boulders, destroying the dam and sending a flood down the fjord towards the kingdom. Elsa is released and rides the water spirit to Arendelle, where she freezes the flood and saves the kingdom. As the mist disappears, she rejoins Anna and revives Olaf. Anna accepts Kristoff's marriage proposal. Elsa explains that she and Anna are the bridge between the people and the magical spirits. Anna then becomes Queen of Arendelle. Elsa becomes the protector of the Enchanted Forest, who visits Arendelle since peace has been restored. In a post-credits scene, Olaf visits Elsa's ice palace and recounts the events to Marshmallow, a snow monster created by Elsa's Palace Guard in the first movie, and the Snowgees, miniature snowmen, inadvertently created by Elsa on Anna's 19th birthday during Frozen Fever. I believe that's when it happened,
Yeah.
because it didn't happen in the one I watched.
No.
But anyway, getting into the trivia for this. The purple fire spirit, Salamander, who befriends Elsa after almost burning down the Northuldra village,
Mm-hmm.
is actually a reworking of Rapunzel's pet chameleon Pascal from Tangled,
Yep.
and similarly vocalized by voice-over veteran Frank Welker. The song used to call Elsa to the Enchanted Forest is a type of Scandinavian herding call called a kulning. It was briefly used in the score of the first movie. In Frozen 2, the kulning is central to the plot is performed by the Norwegian singer Aurora. Olaf's lines about the non-existent character Samantha were improvised by Josh Gad. Olaf's statement that turtles can breathe out their butts is actually a real phenomenon known as cloacal respiration, and occurs with several species, including painted box turtles, eastern snapping turtles, and Fitzroy River turtles.
Turtle power.
It just puts that whole show in another perspective, doesn't
Oh
it?
my gosh, yes. Moving on.
Kristoff's song, Lost in the Woods, is done in the style of a 1980s power ballad.
Mm-hmm.
The sequence even recreates scenes from well-known videos of that era, including those from the bands Whitesnake and Queen.
Mm-hmm.
The Northuldra tribe's culture is inspired by the Sami people, who are indigenous to Norway, Sweden, Finland, and northern Russia. Disney signed a formal agreement with Sami representatives who promote the group's rights internationally. They formed an advisory group of artists, historians, elders, and political leaders. The Northern Sami language is called Jiknan-tu.
Mm.
In the beginning, where young Anna and Elsa are playing with snow figurines, a figure resembling Baymax from Big Hero 6 can be spotted, in addition to one resembling Totoro from My Neighbor Totoro,
Right.
a little elephant that looks like Dumbo, and a Snow White figure.
Hmm.
Young Aduna asks young Agnar what he's reading when
Mhm.
Elsa is going through
Oh,
those past
yeah,
areas.
yeah.
And he says some Danish author. His
Hans
book
Christian Andersen.
shows the silhouette of Ariel from The Little Mermaid,
Mm-hmm.
originally written by Danish author Hans Christian Andersen,
Uh-huh.
who also wrote The Snow Queen, the story of which the Frozen films are extremely loosely based. Since Elsa was never barefoot in the original Frozen, the animators didn't bother giving her toes then. They had to remodel her feet with toes for this sequel. This is Alan Tudyk's 7th consecutive Disney animated film, after Wreck-It Ralph in 2012, Frozen in 2013, Big Hero 6 in 2014, Zootopia in 2016, Moana in 2016, and Ralph Breaks the Internet in 2018. Due to John Lasseter leaving all of Disney animation areas by the end of that year, this could be Tudyk's last consecutive animated film.
Huh.
This is Walt Disney Animation Studios' 58th feature film,
Mm-hmm.
and the last one of the 2010s. Even though it is the 58th feature film in the Walt Disney Animation Studio canon, it is only the 4th film to become a franchise in which its sequels are also made in the canon.
Mm-hmm.
The others being The Rescuers in 1977 with The Rescuers Down Under,
Yes.
Fantasia with Fantasia 2000, and Wreck-It Ralph with Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yes. And you know our opinion about Wreck-It Ralph too.
Indeed. If you're sitting there wondering, what about all those other Disney theatrical straight-to-video sequels? Those were not made by Walt Disney Animation Studios and are technically non-canon. They were almost all of them, if I remember correctly, were made by a then subsidiary animation
Mhm.
studio called, among many other names, Disney Toon Studios.
Yes.
Which unfortunately we just learned right before recording closed in 2018, the year before this movie came out.
Yes.
But yeah, those were all technically made by another company, so they are not in the Walt Disney Animation Studios canon.
Gotcha.
And that is what I got for trivia. Jacob, what is your first like for this film?
My first, like, Disney always hits out of the park, definitely in the more recent years. The animation in this movie, particle effects, extremely on this
Mhm.
point. The animation in this movie, like, you take Frozen, which was 2013,
Yes.
2013, and the animation has gone leaps and bounds, have
Mhm.
gone Into the Unknown. Can't help myself there.
Right.
The animation is just top tier, top shelf, like always with Disney. They knock it out of the park. Like even seeing the trailers for their more recent stuff they've done that didn't do well in theaters, but it's still animation wise, it's spectacular.
Yeah.
Because that's what Disney does. They
have really learned how to use the 3D
yes,
animation.
very effectively.
Grant, some of those very first 3D ones, they can leave somewhat to be desired.
Yes.
In some instances.
Yes. This like animation wise, it's beautiful, definitely with the particle effects. Oh my gosh, like how they use the particle effects for snow, for fire, for like wind effects. The sea.
Oh yeah.
Like it's freaking amazing.
Oh,
it's
the water in this
water effects are beautiful. Ice effects, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just leaps and bounds from what they did in 2013 with Frozen. And this is just a tour de force, like I said before, in animation. It's so well done, animation wise. It's breathtaking. It's beautiful. And some days be like, I wish I had a 4K television with the ability to watch 4K and watch some 4K because it would just be beautiful. So yes, the animation is spectacular. What's your first like?
My first like for this is its classic Disney fun.
Agreed.
It is, on one hand, yes, it is a Disney princess film. So there are some certain, say, standard things.
Tropes.
There is a love story that goes on. But it's brought up and then kind of left in the background for a good portion of the film because that's not the important part of the story.
Right.
Yes, it is loosely based on its source material, even less so since it's actually a sequel to what was actually based on the source material. Hang on.
Bless you.
Excuse me. All right. So yeah, this is a more original story, but it's still, you can still feel the connections back to the first film, and apparently the two in-universe shorts or short features, we'll say, that technically happened in between these two films. I mean, they do a good job of making it feel like you are actually in a living universe.
Yes.
You don't always get this, even in Disney films, because a lot of them really do feel the universe started right before the film started and ended right after. In a lot of cases, if they most often feel like straight up plays when you get right down to it. This really feels like, there's singing in here, but it is like from beginning to end, this is a story that is happening within a specific universe, not a story that we kind of cobbled together so we would have a sequel because we knew it would sell like hotcakes. So yeah, that's my first like. It's a good classic. It's good classic Disney fun, and it's part of it. Feels like it's part of a universe and not just a second film.
Yeah. My second like would be the music.
Oh yes,
the music in this film is so well done. The composers of this film just knock it out of the park like they did in the first one. And I've heard reviewers say it's like, oh, the music's just kind of bland. It doesn't really go to what Let It Go did. Well, Let It Go was in a bottle. Be like when that movie came out. Yeah, it's just like, but these songs are so much different because it's allowed the characters to grow into who they are now. And I love the progression of how they do the characters because the first one did a very good job. Like, I would say even the story is better in some regards, but we'll get there when we get there. But musically wise, be like the first song, the song that the mother is singing to the children, that's very well done. Then you get into the unknown,
right?
Which is like the back of the hairs in the back of my head go up every time because Idina Menzel just kills it. Anytime she lays down some sweet tracks for her amazing vocals. And you just go further and further into this movie. It's just like you got really amazing songs, and you get the one that'll rip your heart out is the one that Anna sings.
Yeah.
What is it called?
I don't have a list in front of me.
No.
Should. But it's
Yeah.
the one after quote unquote Elsa
And
freezes and Olaf disappears.
yeah.
And it's about
do the right
do
thing.
the right thing. Yeah,
Do the right thing.
Because that's really the message on this in this film is
Yeah.
sometimes all you can do is step forward and do the next right
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That just like for there again, I'm not trying to say be like, oh, I'm a victim. I'm not. Be like, that's just the thing that God puts in your life that he knows that you cannot handle without him. That's just the thing I always say. So someone who has mild depression and has gone through a lot, like we've all gone through stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to discredit anybody who's gone through worse things than I have or not. But be like someone who be like when you're depressed and everything just feels dark, be like those lyrics were like, oh my gosh, I know that I've been there before.
Mhm.
And that is just like it's very dark and very just kind of like you understand where she's at. Be like she is at her lowest, and be like everything's gone dark. Be like one point I believe it's like be like she's ready to succumb to what's happened.
Yeah.
But she finds that courage to continue to take that another step and to do the next best thing. And I just like it's so hauntingly beautiful, that song. And man, I'm talking just like deep stuff sometimes with how these writers. What's the writers again? The names again? I'm drawing a blank.
Lopez is the last
Yeah,
name.
the Lopez's.
Hang on. Okay, go all the way back up here. Kristen Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez.
Yeah, thank you. They did a phenomenal job. Be like their writing went up and up and up with this movie. And like every movie they've done so far with Disney is gold, music and lyrically wise.
Mhm.
It's I would say almost on par with what they were doing in the early 90s with Beauty and the Beast,
Mhm.
Little Mermaid, the whole Aladdin with those
Lion
films.
King.
Yeah, Lion King really wasn't there, but when you had oh crap, but either or be
honest in some way.
yeah, something like that. Be like you have that very much style. It kind of flows into that musically wise. But overall, like Howard Ashman, that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
Or Howard Ashman. And yeah, just beautifully written music. That be like, yeah, I found myself listening to the soundtrack more than I watched the film. But overall, I thoroughly enjoy the music, and it is just again like the animation tore to force, and I can't wait to hear what other music what their talents are going to bring to another Disney film. What's your second like?
I'm jumping in on the same one. I'm agreeing with you that the music here is a lot better.
Okay.
When you're looking at Frozen 1, you only really have 3 songs that kind of really stand out in terms of like big quality.
Yeah.
You got Let It Go, of course.
Mhm.
Do You Want to Build a Snowman?
Right.
And then the troll song where they're singing about love, trying to get Anna and Kristoff together. I can't remember the name of that one. That's about the only real 3 that really stand out.
Okay.
Of what, 6 songs?
Yeah.
In that one? So yeah, it's half. But this one, you've got the lullaby at the very beginning. You've got Into the Unknown. You've got the one you were just talking about with Anna's
the Next Right Thing.
Next Right Thing. You've got Lost in the Woods.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I mean,
I totally forgot about that song. Oh my gosh.
Not really a bad song in the whole thing. And that's very interesting because you know what the whole point of having songs and musicals is, right?
In order to express emotion.
It's to communicate something
that you
that
can't
in normal discussion would take too long.
Yes, agreed.
When you're watching, it would take entirely too long through dialogue to explain
Agreed.
what Elsa is thinking about. That we get that information across. It gets across to us Into the Unknown.
Yeah,
and because that's what 4 minutes of the movie that's Into the Unknown.
Yeah.
Whereas that would probably take a good 10-20 minutes through different scenes.
Yeah.
Trying to get Anna and Elsa to talk back to each
Mhm.
other before they decide, oh, let's go do this.
Mm-hmm.
That's the entire point
Yeah.
of these musicals. And I will say that Frozen 2, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
does this better than Frozen 1.
Yeah.
Granted, like I said when we did the Frozen 1 review,
Mhm.
Elsa is the one with the villain song.
She does.
Because until 3/4 of the way through the film, she effectively is the villain of that film.
She is.
Whereas in this one, there actually isn't a villain.
No,
Which is why
there
we
isn't.
don't get a villain song.
No, there is no villain. in
The
this one.
villain technically died already.
Yeah.
Years before any of this stuff happened.
Right.
Because he was the one who was jealous of the Northuldra tribe with their magic. And he's the one who set apart the convinced them to allow them to build a dam so
Mhm.
that it would actually stop up the magic, basically.
Yeah.
And so Anna actually had to look like a villain for a couple minutes when she's just doing the best she can to get someone to blow up the dam, even though it's going to probably destroy
Yeah.
Arendelle.
True.
And it's not until they realize, oh, she actually knows what she's talking about, that they realize, oh, you're not the villain. You're actually, there is no villain really in
Yeah.
this. So yeah, we don't get a villain song, but this movie really didn't need it because because like I said, this is a rock opera.
Yeah.
You get, I mean, nearly every song in here feels like an 80s era rock song.
True.
And it just feels like it's just all the music is very powerful
Yes.
and fun to listen to, which is weird for me anyway,
Yeah.
for a Disney princess film.
Okay.
Because you don't really get this, even in Tangled, you don't get this, which to me, I still think is the better Disney film.
Yeah.
Better Disney princess film.
Mhm.
But most of the time in Disney princess films, obviously, they're not written for me normally,
Right.
for obvious reasons.
Uh-huh.
But this was like, no, these are all really great songs. But I do want to touch on something that crossed my mind when listening to Into the Unknown.
Yeah.
There is a line in there where she says, I have to admit there's a part of me that wants to run after your call.
Yeah.
Into the unknown.
Yeah.
And I got to thinking, because before that she's saying, I already had my adventure. I don't need to leave. Everyone I ever want is right here.
Mm-hmm.
But yet a part of me does just want to go and run towards wherever this call is coming from.
Yes.
Which would be really into unknown territory
Yeah.
for her. And I got to thinking, bear in mind, of course, we're both Christians here.
Uh-huh.
In most cases, I would say a lot of times our salvation testimony
Yeah.
would be essentially Frozen 1.
Okay.
It's very much, that was our adventure in our minds. Everything leading up to that, by all technical accounts, once we reached that point, we were safe.
Okay.
We are going to live our happily ever after, in a sense.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed.
Okay.
It
Got
may
it.
be a while till it starts,
Right.
but it's
Right.
guaranteed.
Right.
Sometimes you really hope it's a little while before it starts because we're humans and we can't. Well, the idea of, anyway,
Yeah.
back to my point. But the thing is, once we do that, we are getting that call to
That
go
is
out
true.
and serve in an area that we probably are not going to be comfortable with.
Hmm.
But that's the thing. If you're Christian and God calls you to go do something, the best thing you can do is go do what God tells you to do.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to feel good about it afterwards, even if it's a pain in the butt.
And maybe something
causes
you really
you to-
don't want to do.
It causes you to have to sacrifice things you didn't want to sacrifice.
That is true.
But ultimately, it's the best thing you can do. So anyway, that's just a thought that crossed my head.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I wanted to bring up because I remember when we reviewed Frozen 1 in the first season, because I remember when Olaf's song came up in summer, because I remember correctly, be like you're watching the film, Olaf pops up and he does a song, and literally the e-brake is pulled.
It derails that whole movie because you're in this adventure and all of a sudden, hi, I'm Olaf. I like warm hugs and I want to see summer. And you're sitting there going, and every one of us is right there with Kristoff. It's like, I'm going to tell him.
Yeah, please tell him. Please tell him.
Don't you dare.
But it's like, yeah, it's one of those songs where everything just the e-brakes pulled, the car is pulled into a complete slide to stop and have this song, have this moment, which is like 4 minutes, like 4 or 5 minutes. But it takes like an additional 5 minutes for the movie to get back to where it needed to be.
And that's really the biggest issue with Frozen 1.
Yeah.
Is every time a song starts, we take a stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and the story is stopping, and we are now in this song.
Yeah.
And now we're going again, but it's going to take us a while to ramp back up. In this one,
No.
It's like the music and the writers, the two people who composed the music
Mm-hmm.
are listed with the writing team.
Yes, they
which
are.
means the music was written along with the story, and so that's
Yes.
why it better fits.
Agreed.
Sorry.
Agreed. No, you're good. Be like when you said Lost in the Woods. Lost in the Woods is like another one of those my favorites. But like even though it kind of derails Kristoff as a character, later on,
Kristoff. Well, we'll get to Kristoff.
we'll get up to Kristoff when we get to Kristoff. And
I
are
have
just like
some opinions later
same
on.
here. But the one song that I loved to death, besides Into the Unknown, is Show Yourself, because we're building up this whole
Yeah.
thing of
Show
Atta
Yourself
Holland.
was the other one. I
It's
couldn't
just
say.
like wow, what the crap? Because there again, it's Idina Menzel doing Idina Menzel. And it's just like beautiful. And though there again, I would dare to say this, probably Elsa in Frozen 2 is probably the most powerful Disney character in the Disney universe. Am I wrong?
No.
Okay. I'm pretty sure there's probably people.
She's
that-
definitely the only one who's got her face on currency
Explain that.
in the movie.
Oh, that's right. She
Her
does.
silhouette is on the coins that Kristoff uses early in the film.
That's right.
And no other Disney princess can make this claim.
That is true. That is true. Be like even not even Tangled, they do that because obviously they go into the series, but that's never
Well,
seen.
In general, you only really put the queen or the king, the
Mhm.
reigning monarch on
Right.
the currency. Those who are part of the royal family but aren't
Right.
really ruling don't get this honor. And Elsa's the first of two,
Yeah.
ironically, Anna being the second,
True.
reigning monarchs
Uh-huh.
of their countries.
So I'll throw a challenge out there to like those who are listening and who are other Disney aficionados or like animation fans like we are. So I just threw that challenge out to you. Be like, I believe Elsa is the most powerful Disney character in the Disney universe.
I
If-
got one that beat it.
Huh?
I got a character that beats it.
Okay, who?
Zeus.
This is from Hercules?
He's a god.
He's a very poorly written god that's not even really Zeus.
Hades.
Eh.
Hades, funniest character
Ag-
in Hercules, at least.
Agreed.
But B, he has power over life and death.
Well,
He
more
can trap people in the underworld.
he tricks people into go in the other world. Or no, he's just the ruler over the underworld. He's the supervisor. He's the supervisor of the underworld. He doesn't really have power. He's just the supervisor. That's what Hades did anyway. Like, yeah, you can't escape because
Okay.
Hades won't let you out. So really, he's just the supervisor.
King Triton.
Without the Trident, he's nothing.
Yes, but with the trident, which is how you should always see him in general, except when
That
except
is
the climax of the
true.
film, he has the trident. So
So technically, let's go here. Technically, so King Trident gave up his trident to give to Ursula. So he technically be like, yes, he is a very powerful character, but his power is only through his trident. And so if he loses his trident, he's no longer has any power. But Elsa, be like, her powers are natural. It's almost like a mutant power, kind of going in the TAS a little bit. So her powers are natural. You cannot suppress her powers. So be like, her powers are unlimited, and they will continue to grow and be more and more powerful.
I have one more.
Okay. This is
I have
one.
one more.
Okay.
Fred's dad. from Big Hero 6.
Stan Lee. We do not know his power whatsoever.
He's the creator of the Marvel Universe.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. It's
The- the
not,
ki-
is
the- hold on,
not
the-
in actuality within Marvel continuity.
But this is a Disney movie, not a Marvel film.
Big Hero 6 is Marvel continuity, technically.
In a small minority. Yes. Be like, I will grant you. I will. This is really cool, guys. I'd be like, yes, I will grant you, but in the Marvel universe,
Now, here's-
Big Hero 6 is somewhere out there.
I was tempted to mention like somebody from like Wreck-It Ralph until I realized, all they have to do is unplug the electricity and they're all dead, so that didn't work.
Exactly.
And then I thought, well, maybe it's some character who is so cute they win by default because they're too adorable to get punched. And so that sort of thing. And I'm trying to think who that character would actually be, and for the life of me, I can't think of anybody.
I'm thinking like, well, also when it like she would just freeze them. But like there again, it's also she wouldn't freeze anybody unless you really, really got her mad. Or you take also from Frozen 1, it's like, yeah, she would would probably kill somebody.
Wait a minute.
Oh no, here we go. Okay.
Yen Sid. Do you know who I'm talking about?
That's a little too much because that's Kingdom Hearts.
No, he is not a Kingdom Hearts character by
Oh, that's right.
technicality.
Okay, my mistake.
He
Yes,
is from Fantasia,
Fantasia.
as he is the sorcerer in the Sorcerer's Apprentice. And you know what his name means?
No.
Where the name comes from?
No,
It is Disney backwards.
that makes sense. He
He is Walt Disney's insert character. He is the most powerful person in Walt Disney canon.
Oh, that's jumping conclusions. That's jumping to conclusions.
He's Disney.
Oh my gosh. Maybe there again, I would have to be like, yeah, he is a wizard. Like, because we see him controlling water and that kind of stuff. We do see
Sorcerer,
that.
but yes.
Sorcerer. We do see him do that.
There's a slight difference.
But
he's also like the insert character, so he's like technically got more power than everybody else.
that is true. That can be debated, but I see your point. I do see your point. I do.
Hey, who else am I going to say? Goofy, because the man can't get hurt. Correction,
Well-
the dog can't get hurt.
He's got plot armor.
How many times has Goofy fallen from great heights? How many times has Goofy been nearly You heard Roger Rabbit. Nobody can take a pratfall like Goofy.
That is, he did. I agree. Yes, be like he might be
Actually,
immortal,
I-
but can he? Can he?
I just had another idea.
Can, be like, well, I agree. Goofy probably is immortal. He probably can't die, but he can sure become an icicle and stay an icicle.
He would be fine afterwards.
He would be fine afterwards.
But I will say, even if you're going to fight me over whether or not Yen Sid is the strongest person, he could beat Elsa in a fight
That'll be interesting.
because he knows more sorcery and magic than she does because she only has access to ice magic.
True.
He has access to a lot more magic.
But also she has like in Frozen 2, it does state be like she can control water, not just ice. She can control water itself.
So can he.
Okay.
Did you not see the Sorcerer's Apprentice section of that movie? And besides that, do you realize how many people from Fantasia I probably could also state?
Probably
Like
wasn't-
the Zeus in that movie? Kronos in that movie?
touche.
The conductor in that movie?
Oh my gosh.
Back to our likes. 'Cause we
Back
are
to-
off track by
Wow.
a lot.
That
We
was
still have one more to go.
yes, we do. That was fun.
Will you finally give us your third like?
My third like, let me boot up the iPad.
I wasn't
Oh.
going to bring up Kingdom Hearts because I already know who would win.
Who?
I'm not singing these words right. Sephiroth!
Sephiroth!
You have not seen that boss fight. That will make you weep. Both of them. It's a hard boss fight, dude.
Okay, I gotcha. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Either way, let's get into the second likes. I would say
Third likes. We're
Third-
on third likes.
third likes.
We're an hour and a half into this, and we're on third likes, and we have not done the starting stuff yet. What used to be the starting stuff yet?
Okay, so mine is a better Olaf.
Yes.
A better Olaf, because in the first one he was annoying as crap. Because he literally was be like, he's literally the audience insert to be like, oh, I wonder what's gonna go on here. Oh, that kind of stuff. Be like, literally just like he just copies everybody what else has said. Be like, and just like, oh,
in
yeah.
the first movie, for one thing, he doesn't come in until halfway through the film.
Agreed. He does.
And when he shows up, you're like, what? What are you doing here? Because up to that point, it was like any other kind of Disney. It was like Disney actually doing something new. There was not this goofy like side character. We were almost in a Disney princess action movie.
Yeah.
For a bit. And then Olaf shows up and we're right back to the tropes.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Don't get me wrong, but it
Sure.
comes right the smack out of nowhere. You get into this one, and yeah, he's there from the beginning, of course, because he's returning from the first movie and the other two shorts. But it's like here, he's actually funny. They actually thought it really does feel like they shoehorned Olaf in.
Agreed.
To the first one.
It does.
And this one, since they already knew the character was there, they actually were able to naturally write him into the story.
I agree.
They gave him like all the hints that you would go, no, that ain't gonna be it. Water has memory. Oh, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. It does. But which I was had a contention with, but like, okay, this is Disney, this is animated, so just is what it is. Ready, roll. So yeah, be like we do get a better Olaf. Be like, one, he's more fleshed out, he's a lot more mature of a character, and so he is dealing with
he's starting to deal with mortality.
Yeah, dealing with mortality, growing up.
That was
funny. That was good.
It was like, so how do you do with the fact that one day you might not be around anymore?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, honestly,
Foreshadowing.
Like,
Foreshadowing.
Olaf, why are you thinking about that? Did you just realize you should be melting?
Yeah.
If not for the permafrost that Elsa obviously gave you.
Yes. But oh my gosh, it's like the character who's philosophizing about everything in this entire movie, and it's just dropping information left and right, and it's not just stupid information. Like he's like turtles can breathe out their butts.
Right. In the first movie, Olaf was just an idiot.
Yeah.
Basically.
He was
meant to be the character who comes in and says, explain everything to me because I'm not gonna get it.
Yeah.
In some ways. And for us, as you know, we're older people and we kind of don't need those characters anymore, and they do come off as annoying because of the way he was written in that one. No offense to Josh Gad, he's an annoying character for people our age.
Yeah, agreed.
Granted, unless you can just buy right into it, and then he's fine because he's not really well written that well in the first one.
Agreed.
This one, granted, some of this is just Josh Gad definitely knows the character at this point.
Yes,
and is able to improvise a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that was actually improvisation on his part, but he knows that character a lot better, and he can just go right into it to where it's like, oh, I actually like Olaf now. He's not annoying.
Yeah, especially when you get
to
towards
the point where because this is my third like also.
Okay, go for it.
Jumping in on this.
Go for it.
His death scene.
I was about to go there.
I had a feeling. This is a character I didn't like in the first film. I hate him in Kingdom Hearts. Just putting that out there. And I'm watching his death scene in this. It's like when they first hint at it, and it's like, hang on, are we in Infinity War? And is this Spider-Man?
Oh my god, yeah, you're no kidding. Oh my gosh, I didn't think about that. He's Peter Parker.
Oh no, I don't feel good anymore.
Oh jeez. I don't feel good.
It's like, I hate this. I should hate this character. And it's like you somehow in the past, since the beginning of this film, made me actually care if the stupid snowman survives. point where it's like when Elsa says it's a good thing water has memory, I'm going, yay, he's back. What's wrong with me? What has happened to me? What have I become? Who am I, and what have they done with me?
Yes, his death is so moving because once you realize what happened to Elsa, and be like, that's just very slowly they start bringing it in. It's like, oh, they're doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, they're killing off Olaf.
Yeah.
And it's just like I'd be like, I was sitting there shocked. It's like, oh my gosh, they're doing that. And I remember in the theaters we're hearing like little kids starting to cry about it. And I was like,
yeah.
It's like Olaf's dying. It's like, or some kids were like, what's happening? They didn't understand. And so I remember like one kid had to go out because it was Olaf dying.
This is like if at our age, if we'd gone and seen The Lion King and Pumbaa died halfway through it.
Yeah, that would have just like,
It's
what?
the same thing.
Yeah, you get it. You're very below side character.
Watching The Little Mermaid, and oh yeah, Flounder got eaten by the shark. It's like, yeah,
ow, yeah,
what? Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Oh my, yeah, but oh man, but it's like Olaf becomes this a more mature character, and you feel it. You feel it, kind of like how Sven says it. Be like, your feelings are true, which they're not really, but be like your feelings do matter, but they don't control what you're supposed to do. Don't be controlled by your feelings. Let's say that, but it's just like you get this point where he does pass away as a character, and it's just like you get that, like I said earlier,
right there with Anna.
Yeah, you're just right there,
because it's like, okay, Elsa is frozen over. I'm not going to say she's dead because Anna didn't die when she got frozen over in the first one.
That's true.
Obviously, she's cut off from her magic. That's why Olaf is now dead. He's powder. And you're sitting there going, as far as Anna knows, everyone she knows is dead.
Everyone she knows and loves,
her
is
entire
gone.
Support network is missing at this moment.
Yeah,
because Elsa's frozen, Olaf's gone, Sven and Kristoff are who knows where.
Yeah, have no idea.
She doesn't even know he's been trying to propose for the past half
exactly.
hour. And she's like, okay, and the problem's still not fixed, and now it's all on her, and somehow she's the one who's got to do everything. You're right there with her.
Yeah, you are.
All because of a snowman dying.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's actually the craziest part about this. You know, the reason I don't like Olaf, like I said in the first one, is he makes tons of jokes that aren't funny.
Yeah, okay.
For me.
That is true.
And this one, he's got from the get-go. He's almost every single one of his jokes are funny.
They are.
From his charade scene where he does the Elsa hips.
Oh
part.
Gosh, yes. Oh my god.
That was funny. A lot of his comments, while stupid, there's like, okay, those were funny. The whole thing's like, Kristoff, Sven, Anna, Elsa, Samantha. Wait a minute, I don't know a Samantha. I don't know what I'm thinking. Is that you, Samantha? Oh, it's you. I'm gonna call you Gail.
Be like, just hits punch after punch after punch. And just like, what the heck?
And then the best one, his reading of how Frozen 1 happened.
Oh gosh.
And I lived. and Anna died. And then it's like, and then I was, because I lived, it's like, this is so stupid. And then he does it again at the very end, going over how Frozen 2 ended. It's like, and
oh yeah, forgot about
Anna
that.
Died, and Elsa died, or was frozen, and then I died, but then I came back to life, and you came back to life, and that's why we're all alive. Like, this is so stupid.
I agree,
dumb, and I love it.
Oh my god,
it's funny because that's the thing. That's the problem with comedic characters in general.
Yeah,
if they're funny, you don't care.
Agreed.
You actually, that's what actually makes you care for the character, because in your mind you know they're a comedic character.
Yeah,
you know that they're meant to be the comedic relief. So when they die, that's actually more impactful. But when they're not funny,
yeah,
you want them to die.
True.
I remember when I first watched Frozen, and I had only seen Olaf for 5 minutes
Yeah.
before him talking about wanting to to see Summer.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going, yeah, I want you to see Summer too. I
Milk,
want
you little bugger.
I want to see you melt right now because you are an annoying character and I don't like you. And here it's like, I don't want you. I'm actually sad that you're dying, Olaf. What is going on?
Confusing emotions. Confusing emotions.
So yes, I will give Frozen to this. Kudos for making me give 2 flying bananas about Olaf, the stupid snowman.
I would agree. Be like Olaf becomes a very likable character. Yeah, I'd be like I said before, they'd be like he's philosophizing all over the place. All his jokes hit. Like everything he says is funny, or it has some impact on the story. Unlike Frozen 1, where it's just be like he makes some really, really stupid joke, and he's just be like he's literally just repeating everything everybody else is saying. And they're again like
because he was shoehorned into the story for one thing.
Exactly.
Like this one, he's there from the beginning, and they actually wrote him in where it made sense. So
agreed. So yes, be like apparently both our number 3s are Olaf is awesome.
In this one. First one, not so much.
We don't know about Frozen 3 yet. Well, it'll get here when it gets there.
The third movie is usually the worst one. In general, we have not had a in-canon Disney third film yet.
No, we have not.
So we will see.
We shall see when it comes out.
But for now, we've got to talk dislikes.
Yes, we do.
What's your first? See if I have the same one.
Gosh, I think it might be different. You never know.
I know we have at least one similar one just from what we talked about.
My first dislike is I understand like sometimes you have to remind your audience. You have to remind your audience of what happened previously, like previously on X-Men. This movie, oh my gosh. How many times do you have to remind the audience each and every time what happened in the first film? They do it at least 4 times throughout the entire film. Like, I understand it's a kid's movie. You're literally just playing the kids down to they're dumber than bricks. They're not dumb. They watch this movie 1,000 times. You do not have to repeatedly over and over and over again rehash what happened with Frozen 1. You can do it once, twice, maybe not 5 times if memory serves correctly. It's just like, oh my, that became so infuriating by the 3rd time, or at least the 2nd time. I'm like,
I only know of 3 times that they actually did it. One was the joke with Olaf with the swaying hips.
Yeah,
that's one.
Well, there was the
and then there's Olaf's recitation of Frozen 1 in his comedic bit, and that was at least serviceable. And then the 3rd one that I know of is when she's going through Northuldra, the cave, the river, the glacier. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And it's and you see the quick little snow clip of doing
what's going on.
Let It Go.
Yeah, Let It Go. And like, yeah,
those are like 3 I caught.
That is true. I'd be like, I may over exaggerate the 5, but it felt like they did it 5 times.
It was a little like, okay, we get it, move on.
Yeah, it was a bit of annoyance with they had to constantly call back to the first one. And it's there again, be like, it's almost like patronizing. Like, really? Be like, remember what we did in the first one?
The word you're looking for is fan service.
Fan service. That's better.
Because
fan service.
It is literally panding to the audience to show them what they remember from the last one.
Yes.
Granted, I think the scene where Olaf is retelling the events.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's fine. That's
actually funny. The callback with Elsa, with Olaf doing Elsa's hips during the charades thing.
That was funny.
That is funny also.
Yeah.
When they're in the iceberg or the glacier, that was like
a bit much.
That's a bit much. You're pulling. It's like, okay, We get it. You love Let It Go.
It's a little bit of a stretch.
Move on.
Yeah, move on. But I understand why they did it, but at the same time, it's just like,
Okay, I will say there was a fourth one because there is that part where Anna and Kristoff are getting into that small little squabble at one point, and he's talking about, do you remember when our first meeting, and I said I thought you were being naive, and then she kind of goes off on-
yeah.
that is a kind of explain their part of that
Yeah,
story. That-
agreed.
So yeah, that's a fourth. So I'm sure
Yeah.
there's a fifth one in there
There's
somewhere. I just
probably-
don't remember it.
Probably. But it's just like I think it became really repetitive. Let's remind you what happened in the first film. And I found that really it almost like be like this audience, the young audience who watched this in 2013 on until this one came out in 2019 had probably watched it a billion times by this point. So why do you have to continually rehash what you did in the first one when your audience clearly could give recitations of what happened in the first one? So I'm just saying, be like, the fan service is a little too much.
I agree with you that they needed to back it off a little.
Yeah.
In the case of Anna and Kristoff's argument and Olaf's retelling,
Yeah.
I think those would have been all you really needed
Yeah. Agreed.
to get the point across. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, we're acknowledging the other film. We're giving you what information from that film you need to understand what's going on in this one.
Yeah.
And then the other two are just quick little callbacks, like here's a funny joke that makes sense for us to do here.
Yeah. Agreed.
But granted, Frozen 1 is the most overshown movie
Yes.
that Disney's put out in the past 20 years.
Yes.
If not 30 years. So, I mean, I get what you're saying.
Mhm.
I kind of wish they'd have backed off a little bit,
Yeah.
but I also understand
Yeah.
wanting to play to the fans.
Agreed. Yeah. I think
It's not as great a design decision, but
yeah.
I also
Agreed.
understand why.
Yes. So yeah, that's my
If it was a book, we wouldn't care
that is true.
because it would have been more spread out.
Well, it's I don't want to say it's more like a Dragon Ball thing where
No, it's not that.
No, it's not that where they had to rehash everything. It's like
They
I'm
never rehash. I don't know. Anyway,
anyways. It's like it'd be like if you were to watch a TV show, and then it's like, oh, we've got to do a recap show, but the recap show, like, there's 3 or 4 recap shows throughout the entire show. It's like, okay, we get what's going on. Let's move on.
anyway.
Yeah. Anyways.
It's like the when serial television was first becoming a thing.
Yeah.
And every episode started with, like with X-Men.
Yeah.
Previously on X-Men, here's the last 7 episodes in quick succession so you remember what happened.
Yeah.
Previously on Heroes, here's everything that's been going on since the first episode.
Yeah.
Kind of put into it's like, no, give your audience a break. Give them the respect.
Yeah.
They actually been paying attention and going on. If they haven't been and they get lost, that's their fault because they weren't paying attention.
Okay.
Anyway,
So here's a good example. Here is
besides, in this day and age, who doesn't go watch the first movie again before they go watch the sequel?
I know people who've done that.
I'm just saying it's a thing that's
Yeah.
The makers of the movie should be able to assume that people are going to do in this day and age.
Yeah, agreed. The one of the things I've noticed is like if we'll probably we have done this film before is Aladdin Return to Jafar.
Mhm.
We've done this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that movie went straight to the heart what was going on. Be like they kind of it's like, okay, we did this in the past, let's move forward. And they just move forward with the story. What's going on in this story? And they were like, this is
That was also the pilot for a television series.
that is true.
That
That is true.
it was more worried about other things.
That is true.
Same can be said about Tangled before Ever After. It was a pilot for a show. It's more focused on getting you into the idea of what's coming, not
Mhm.
looking back on what happened.
Okay, fair enough.
That's all.
Fair
that's
enough.
where I'm going to go with that.
Okay,
I'm
fair
not trying to fight you on that. It's just like
Oh,
that's what that's doing.
better one. I got a better one. Rescuers Down Under.
Okay, yeah.
Rescuers
Because
Down Under. Be like
Rescuers Down Under does not tell you a thing.
exactly.
We'll get into that later when we get to that movie because I think that's this year.
Yeah.
But
Great movie, by the way.
right, because I saw Rescuers Down Under first, and I didn't need to know anything going into that.
Exactly.
Now, granted,
They set up everything
Frozen 2, you do need to know a little bit more
a little bit.
about, give you an idea of what happened, but you really, yeah.
But
Anyway,
also think
every
about
every film is different, and there is a more serial thought process
very
in
true.
movie making and television right now. So I understand why you give the callbacks.
Yeah.
Granted, most of Marvel doesn't give, when they do callbacks, they
Yeah.
don't tell you what they're calling back into. They're just assuming you know what they're calling back.
Yeah.
To.
So just thinking about that, like The Rescuers made in 1977, I believe.
That was the original, yeah.
Yeah, the original. And then Rescuers Down Under was 1990.
Yeah.
So you're talking almost
12 years.
12 years.
Almost
Almost 12-year decade.
Just a little bit longer than Frozen to Frozen 2.
Almost. You're right. Almost. Like that's 6 years.
It's still one end of the decade to the other.
That is true.
So
That is so true. Didn't think about that.
yeah, but still,
yes.
you are in both cases you're talking about different generations going to see into the theater to
Very
see
true.
the film.
Very true.
And yeah, Rescuers Down Under doesn't tell you anything, but then there was nothing from the first film that needed to be told for the second film to make sense.
Yeah.
Frozen 2, you do at least need to know a little bit of character history to understand why Elsa and Anna and Kristoff and Olaf are in the situation they're in and why they act like this, because otherwise you wonder, why is the queen and the princess from one country feeling it's important to run off
True.
to another country?
Very true. I agree with that. So that's my number one.
Damn,
That's
yeah.
my number one dislike. What's your first dislike?
I just want to say this being our fourth year, when one of us is rebutting the other one's dislike, we are respecting
Yes.
their dislike, but we are seeing a lot of times it from a different angle. So
Yes.
while we respect the dislike, we're saying, well, maybe it's really more like this.
Yeah.
We do tend to defend movies even when it's like we kind of agree.
Kind of agree. This probably wasn't a good film, or maybe it was a great film. And
No,
we're-
I agree with you
Yeah.
that it calls back to the first film a little too much.
yeah, agreed.
But it's not on my list of dislikes.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's why I can rebut it safely, because it's like, okay, I can see maybe what they're doing here.
Okay. Sure.
I just want the people at home to realize, if this is somehow your first episode, which is possible,
That's true.
it's always possible. I agree I agree and respect my co-hosts' thought processes and beliefs, even when I have an entirely different opinion.
Right.
Continuing on with my entirely different opinion, although I suspect this might also be on your list.
Maybe.
Kristoff get knocked out of this film.
Oh my
about halfway
gosh. Poor
through it.
Kristoff.
Oh my word.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Kristoff, bless his heart, is supposed to be the prince character of these films.
Supposed to.
And by the prince character, I mean he is the main character's primary love interest. And yes, Anna and Elsa kind of are dual protagonists in this franchise,
Agreed.
but Anna is our character viewpoint. She's the eyes for us to watch the film.
Yeah.
It's through her eyes that the story is told.
Mm-hmm.
So for all intents and purposes, as the Disney princess film, she is the princess in question.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying Elsa does not also fit that description, but
Agreed.
she has a different path than Anna does. Anna
Okay.
is more of the traditional Disney princess.
Yeah.
The sole exception being at the end of this film, she actually is queen.
Yes.
She's only the second queen in Disney princess history who is actually not evil
True.
yet.
Yet.
You never know how
You
these
never-
things are going to go.
There is a third one coming out. Just remember that. You never know.
Anna's revenge.
Oh my gosh. I have theories what they may do with the third one, but continue.
If the third one it becomes Tangled versus Frozen, I'm there for it. Bring in all that Tangled Ever After and Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure lore into this. Make it where the sun drop and the moon opal and the
shoot.
and these ice powers, they're all connected. I mean, Rapunzel was in the first film for a hot second.
All right. So what is your first dislike?
It's the fact that Kristoff's knocked out halfway through this, because bless his heart, he is like Flynn Rider throughout, or Eugene,
Mhm.
all throughout Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure. He's just trying to propose to Anna. Bless his heart.
Oh my
And
gosh.
halfway through this, Anna goes off with Elsa and
Yeah.
Olaf to parts unknown as far as he knows, and didn't bother to tell him where she was going.
Oh, he'll be fine.
Granted, both Anna and Elsa are strong, independent women.
Yeah, agreed.
They don't necessarily have to tell their men where they're going.
Right, but it'd be a nice common
But-
courtesy.
But yeah, common courtesy, manners. The person who is your boyfriend,
Uh-huh.
just to be nice, you might want to inform, hey, I'm going off with my sister out to the middle of nowhere so we can go find a glacier for her to climb through and nearly freeze to death in. And then I'm going to cry when the snowman dies. She wouldn't say it that way, but that's what happens. Because the thing is, and this is what gets me.
Yeah.
He's there. He's trying. They set up like he's going to be there throughout the entire story.
Yeah.
They meet the North Aldrins.
Mhm.
We meet, I think it's Ryder. I think
His
it's the
name is
kid
Ry-
that he goes off with,
Yeah.
who also can speak for reindeer, like Sven can.
Which is interesting, yeah.
Which is interesting. And he says, I got the perfect way you can propose to her. It's the way the North Aldrins do it. And guess what? It contains a lot of reindeer. So, of course, he's right on it. And they go off there, and he doesn't see Elsa again till the end of the film.
Yeah, he just pops out of nowhere.
We get one more scene with him, which is the one where he's got, where he starts proposing, and surprise, it's the North Aldrin leader.
Mm-hmm.
Because
That
Anna's
was
gone.
fun. That's the setup to where they're gone.
It's a funny.
It is funny.
And then we get that heartbreaking scene where he does Lost in the Woods,
Mhm.
and then we don't. And then that scene ends, and we do not see hide nor hair
Or hoof.
or hoof of Kristoff and Sven until they're going back to Arendelle. At the end of the film, they don't even show up in the climax at the dam, which they should, because they're right there.
You're not wrong.
They wrote Kristoff into this film for the sole reason we couldn't keep him off of it, because then everyone's going to ask, what happened to Kristoff? But instead of having him stay in Arendelle as kind of the ruler in place, I guess that would look too much like Goober from the first one.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe that's the thought process here. I don't know.
Right.
They have him come along only to be cut out of the other half of the film when they're now just focusing on, okay, Anna and Elsa, we got to tell the sister love story again, because it's the sister love story again.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Right.
I get that. That's kind of what they're going through, because it's familial love is stronger than anything else.
Right.
Is how this thing works.
Right.
And you gotta know to trust your family and blah 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 blah.
Mm.
And I'm still sitting there going, I know someone who would like to be family. You left him back at camp, and he, bless his heart, is trying to propose.
Yeah.
And for the 5th time this movie, you kicked him in his manhood, metaphorically.
I would not
I-
dispute you at all on that. At all.
Poor Kristoff. You almost aren't even in the film, because he's got what, maybe 15 lines. His entire story is, I want to propose to Anna.
Yeah.
He has no character growth at all.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe it's just like, because the only reason he's able to finally propose is he finally gets Anna's attention.
Yeah.
The Lost in the Woods gives you the idea that perhaps his what he learns by the end is that he really is in love with Anna, but the thing is, we know he's in love with Anna. He knows he's in love with Anna. The only person who doesn't know he's in love with Anna is Anna. Elsa is even. Why is Elsa not saying, look, you can come along with me, but go talk to Kristoff first. Once you're done talking to him, then we'll go.
Yeah.
Because he is going to be family one day, and you need to take care of him. He's going to be the next king of Arendelle. Quit leaving him in the background. I mean, not reigning monarch, and I don't
True.
exactly know how Arendelle royalty works because I only found out this year
Mm-hmm.
that technically, even though Queen Elizabeth had a husband, he could not be called king because he wasn't the reigning monarch. So maybe Christoph couldn't be called reigning monarch, but that's the difference between actual British royalty and fictional Arendelle royalty. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why that even matters because I'm American. Anywho,
Oh my gosh.
poor Christoph. What's your second dislike?
Again, poor Kristoff. Poor Kristoff. Oh my gosh. It's like they didn't know what to do with this character.
No, that's the
Absolutely
problem.
nothing.
All they knew is, oh, well, he'll propose.
Yeah, that's
And
all.
we'll give him a hard time proposing. And you realize, like, halfway through, it's like, well, we've got a song for him, but we don't know what else to do with him.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just put the song afterwards after they've all gone, and there's no way he can catch up because he doesn't know which way they went.
Yeah.
That's why he's lost in the woods.
So
And then we'll bring him back at the end. That's about all we know to do.
yeah, so you have Frozen 1 where
We'll pray nobody notices that we left the prince back at the camp.
are the soon to be prince.
I call him the prince as a tropeness, not as the
Yeah.
actual
I understand. I understand.
title.
Understand. So be like in Frozen 1, be like I want to call him Spin, but that's
That's
a
the reindeer.
That's a reindeer.
Kristoff.
Kristoff is like he's a very fleshed out character. We get to know him very well to who he is, what kind of character he is, and then it's literally they just drop all of that. He goes completely from important character to background character in this movie. They know nothing to do with him. It's literally he becomes a second fiddle to everything going on, and by probably the end of the second act, he's gone. We get a really good song out of him. That's all he does, propose the entire time.
Yes.
He's funny during it, don't get me wrong.
right.
But it's literally, they didn't know what to, like you said, had no idea what they do to this character. They had a song for him, and that's it. I was like, it's like, why? Just give him something to do rather than just be a trope guy trying to propose to his girlfriend.
At least while I finally did it. While Anna,
Yeah,
Elsa,
Thank you.
while Anna, Elsa, and Olaf are off doing their thing, give us at least a scene of him helping around the camp.
Yeah.
Don't just leave him there and say, oh, surely people will remember he's there.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, when we watched this originally,
Mm-hmm.
when I was still when we were watching, going, okay, what's going on? How are they going to get out of this? How eventually is they going to be saved?
Yeah.
The fact that Kristoff disappeared
Yeah.
halfway through the film,
Yeah.
did not bother me then.
Yeah.
It only bothered me this time because I'm now watching, how the rest of I'm looking at the rest of the dish now since I know what the
Mhm.
primary course is.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the rest of it and going, well, these parts could be prepared better.
Yeah.
So I will give them this. They were they probably just had no idea what to do with these mashed potatoes,
Possibly.
and it just could have been cooked a little longer.
Agreed. Yes.
To
Um,
give an analogy.
Mm-hmm. I'll get into that analogy later.
Okay, but that was your second dislike.
That's my second dislike. What's your third?
My second dislike. Actually.
Okay, your
'cause
second.
I'm only on my second.
Okay.
My second dislike is I don't know. Let me rephrase. It was there and it's gone.
Don't you love that?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Do that quite a bit myself
Okay.
personally.
I know it is now.
Okay.
Okay. So in this movie, we are given lore
Mm-hmm.
of
Agreed.
how magic works.
Right.
Something the first movie didn't give us. We just knew she had magical ice powers with no explanation.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, they have to essentially give us the entire lore about how all this works. We find out that there are essentially 4 spirits, well,
Mhm.
technically 5th because Anna's the 5th.
Elsa is the 5th.
Elsa's the 5th. They're Anna and Elsa are the 5th.
Okay.
They're a bridge. I caught that part.
Okay, yeah, they're a bridge.
But when you get right down to it, like I said in the title of it, there are the 5 elements basically are fire, water, wind, and earth, and love.
Mm-hmm.
By these powers combined, no,
Captain Elsa.
I hope not. But here's the thing: we meet personifications, or at least physical
Mhm.
versions of all 4 of those other spirits. Gale is the wind that keeps coming up.
Mm-hmm.
The Earth Titans are the earth.
Mm-hmm.
The salamander is the fire,
Mm-hmm.
and the horse is water. Right?
Yes.
Did we actually need to meet these characters?
I think fundamentally for the story, when they're using more not Norse, but the mythology for the
Right.
story to give more credence to what's going on in the story. I think the
Okay.
introduction of these characters was kind of
Introducing them,
yes.
yes, but I want to put forth that perhaps while the horse makes sense because she needs a horse,
yeah.
she does need a mount, and so bringing the horse in as the water spirit that then she has to tame because she's ice.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. Gale, for the most part, I think you could just say it's the wind, and then no one would make it big of a difference. The only real thing Gale adds to the story is that she's the one that gets the letter from Anna to Elsa at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And
And
the Rock Titans, they're there to destroy the dam, basically.
Yeah.
So that makes sense why they're there. What about the fire elemental, the salamander, who's knockoff Pascal?
He's just a cute kid.
Literally, he is knockoff Pascal.
Yeah. He's the the quote unquote the cute character.
Right.
That almost surpassed Olaf, mind you.
But I guess here's my point. Those characters are all in there, and they're all supposed to be physical manifestations of the 4 magic varieties, right?
Yes.
While that is interesting and it's cool to see, they did nothing to make me actually care about what those characters actually were.
Okay.
Like I said, the salamander, he's knockoff Pascal, except he's not as interesting.
Okay.
Pascal, of course, from the beginning, when we first meet him, he's interesting because he's got a great tie-in with Rapunzel.
Yeah.
Yes, he's got all these great stuff when you get to the show, but even in the movie by itself, he's an instantly likable character.
Yeah.
Here, he's an instantly 3D character, and I don't mean in terms of animation.
Okay.
From a writing standpoint, he's 3-dimensional. He's got entire way of, but the salamander really doesn't. He's on fire.
Mhm.
He likes to cause fire until he meets Anna and Elsa, and then we find out he likes to be wet.
Mhm.
So because it puts out his fire.
Yeah.
Okay. Gale is wind.
More directional than anything. She kind of directs what's going on.
Yeah, but very much she is just the wind.
Yeah.
The only reason we know she's the spirit is because Olaf named her.
Yeah.
Okay, water horse. Okay, that's a little bit more. That feels like it was written into the story from an early point
Mm-hmm.
because they needed a way for her to get across over to the glacier.
Right.
The Rock Titans, obviously major story influence because they need her them to throw the boulders at the dam so it will break, so that the climax of the film will happen, and so that Elsa can ride the water horse and freeze the water before it hits Arendelle.
Right.
It feels like they wrote those 2 characters and realized we need 2 more. What have we got? Oh, we got this character model for Pascal from Rapunzel. Let's just modify it and make another character out of it who can cause fire to occur. And we've got particle effects in wind.
Mm. Okay.
This is going to sound weird, but even the 2 characters, none of these really feel like they are personifications, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
They don't really feel like characters.
Fair. I think
that's mostly what I'm getting at.
Okay.
When you're going to have, if you're going to tell me that all the spirits had to make a decision as to whether or not they were fine with Anna leading Arendelle and pretty much being the leader of the two countries.
Yeah.
You need to let me know that they are conscious and can think.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, two are animals, one is a force of nature, and the other is a troll.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly the things thought of as intelligent.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm supposed to know that these things are intelligent? I guess I'm not, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, these feel like they're supposed to be characters, and yet I don't feel like they're characters. I feel like they are plot hooks.
Fair.
They're plot elements. They don't feel like characters.
Mm.
Like I said, I know it's weird. It's just like if you're going to introduce these things as characters, which they do,
Yes.
I need to see more character. And when I say I almost feel like they don't need to be in here, I'm not saying that the aspects didn't need to be here.
Yes.
I'm not saying the magic didn't need to be here. I'm not saying Anna didn't and Elsa didn't need a water horse. I'm not saying we didn't need rock trolls. I'm saying you tell me those are the physical manifestations of nature spirits in film 3. I don't need to know that here. You want to bring in the fire lizard? Fine. You can even use a leftover Pascal model if you want. I will not complain much. But do not do this whole, even do the wind thing. Don't do this whole thing. It's like, yeah, these are characters. These are, and they are essentially the 4 gods of this continent, of this island, or whatever this is. I don't know what Arendelle is on.
Yeah.
Arendelle and North Uldra. I don't know what type of landmass they're technically on. If they are essentially the gods, for lack of a better term, of this area, I need to know, are they just I need to know that they're technically 3-dimensional characters from the beginning. Because honestly, like I said, they don't really feel 3-dimensional. That's mostly what I'm getting at.
Okay.
What's your third dislike?
My third dislike on this film, it's a rush job. It's a rush job as a story. But like after watching the film, watching it for a second time, and then watching the documentary, be like, you can definitely tell. Now, granted, this is all up for the big CEOs of Disney saying you need to push this movie out as fast as you can because we want to gain as much profit as we can from the sales of this movie.
Which makes sense, I'll admit.
I agree. It'd be like they had a ton of pressure on them to push this movie out as fast as they can. So you be like you look at it from an aesthetic point of view, from the film perspective, from the film creators. They were under the tightest deadline probably in Disney history to create this movie, because they took time from 2013 or 2012, 2013 to 2019. And they only had they had a 2-year window to create this. Maybe, yeah, about a 2-year window, like the normal traditional time frame to make a movie. But they were having so many story issues throughout the entire process. Like they were getting songs, no problem. Be like they were constantly do rewrites over and over again because you can tell they were having issues writing this movie. And so the end of this, the results that you have is a movie that has some story elements that were not fully fleshed out, or they weren't as tight as they could have been because they were under such strain to create this film. So you have points where it's just like, we all came to agreement that Arendelle shouldn't be destroyed. So you have this entire buildup of a story where Arendelle is now under threat by these mysterious spirits. And so like you go on this journey, and so by the end of it, this entire journey is almost not the same, pointless, but it's just like, why was there a journey after all? Because obviously they have to go to the forest, they have to find out this stuff, this and this and this, but there are certain like the story needed to be a little more tightened up a little bit. Be like, it's got a good pace. Do not get me wrong. It's got a great pace to it. But just to me personally, and I think some critics would agree that the story just needed a little more time to marinate and they had a little more time to work on it. I think this would have been a better film instead of rush. Let's get rid of Kristoff. We have no idea what we're going to do with him. Let's drop him. And then he'll come back later. And then you have, it's just be like, boom, 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 boom. And there's really no, because all your new characters that we are supposed to get to know, we really don't know who they are.
No,
We-
because once that's the thing. This is set up like a mystery. Like we've got this mysterious stuff happening.
yeah.
We've got to go figure it out. And of course, it's magical mysterious. It's supposed to feel like kind of feel like The Last Unicorn in a way.
Yeah. Agreed.
You're not supposed to know what's going on really until the climax of the film.
Yeah.
In many ways. The problem is, as soon as they get into North Uldra
Mm-hmm.
and they meet the North Uldrans,
Yeah.
half of the mystery is gone.
Yeah.
If not 3/4, that mystery is gone. And so all it comes down to is what actually happened with the dam.
Yeah.
What actually caused them to attack. And it's so
Weak.
it gets explained fairly quickly.
Yeah.
And so then it's just the mystery of why did all that happen? Oh, it's because the story that your father told you, which was the story as best as he could tell, but your father was missing information, has
Mhm.
this was the part it was missing is that is that your grandpa was scared of magic and what that would mean, what the other country having it would mean
Yeah.
for Arendelle.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. And he did something that would cause an issue, not realizing he was essentially going to stab himself in the foot, because if that dam ever broke, Arendelle would be destroyed.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming he was at least aware of where that river went.
Yeah.
You would like to think?
That's like a huge plot inconvenience. It's like, why would you put a dam that's downriver from your own fjord and in Temperance to be like, and here's another one.
My guess is his intention was not to like blow up the dam. The
No, of
dam
course
was
not.
meant to stop up the magic so that the North
I
Uldrans
agree.
wouldn't have access to it, but would essentially make the area more normal, I guess. The spirits said otherwise, and the only way, and it just so happened,
Mm-hmm.
like he wasn't worried about the dam breaking,
Yeah.
which is why he was fine with it being on the river upstream of Arendelle, even though you have to stop and think, this is just me thinking ahead.
Yes.
That
Agreed.
once the North Uldrans were going to figure it out, like they did,
Mm-hmm.
and they maybe figured it out while you weren't there to,
Uh-huh.
stop them from putting 2 and 2 together. They probably had ways to blow up the dam, and guess then what would happen? You'd be underwater.
Yeah.
Instead, you got lucky that your daughter-in-law is a North Uldran,
Yeah.
who then had 2 daughters that were the keys to saving it all. Congratulations. You messed yourself up, and anyway.
Yeah.
He got- anyway.
Yeah, I would say be like there's a little more plot convenience throughout that entire thing, because the North Uldrans realize, oh, these people betrayed us. Oh, they slaughtered a bunch of our people.
Not to mention the North Uldrans and the Arendelle force that were trapped up there in the mist.
Yeah.
They put down arms and started being friendly with each other very quickly.
Exactly.
They've been fighting for what, 40 years? I don't know how long it was.
Yeah.
I know
13 years.
the movie. Well, no, because
They were trapped together in the forest for 13 years, I believe. No, not
either way,
Either way.
multiple years.
Yeah, multiple
they were
years.
fighting, assumingly almost nonstop for a number of years, to the point where I can see maybe they're tired of fighting, and maybe the common people are starting to see that the fighting is useless, but they're still seeing each other as enemies.
Yeah.
And the weird thing about soldier mentality
Mm-hmm.
is, in a lot of cases, you don't stop seeing the enemy as the enemy.
Yes, agreed.
There are stories in our world
Mm-hmm.
of a Japanese soldier
Mm-hmm.
who was still fighting World War II on an island.
in 1960s.
It was a lot later than that, I think.
60s or 70s, one of those.
I thought it was like in the 80s or 90s.
I
when
think
they
it was-
finally found him.
I think it was like the late 70s.
Either way, he
Yeah.
had been out of touch with
Mhm.
command, obviously, and did not know that the fighting had stopped.
Yeah.
So he was protecting that island
Yeah.
or wherever he was to the best visibility. And it wasn't until someone came and says, "Oh, hey, the war is over. Japan technically lost, but that's okay. We're on good terms now.
Yeah.
We both respect each other now, so you don't have to fight us anymore."
Yeah.
But there's other stories. Like
Yeah.
I mean,
Agreed.
just because a peace treaty was signed, or just because you're friendly now, doesn't mean it's like you're not seeing the other side with, at least with suspicion.
Yeah.
And they just put their arms down and gladly work together because, oh, the queen's here. How do we know she's the queen? She told us.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
Okay.
again, like the point the point I'm getting across, there's be like the idea that the North Aldrins and these soldiers are just getting along, no problem. There's no internal conflict. Be like, oh, we kind of like butt heads a little bit. We're all friends the whole bit. Be like, we're not trying to protect the dam from being busted because the North Aldrins know that's why the reason the dam was built and designed to do this. But there's so many plot problems with this thing when it comes to those little things, and when it comes to like, why would you be like understanding? Be like, it's like, why would you put it on the same fjord as your kingdom, knowing the North Orders could break it? They could, all with tens of prices. They could, because you betrayed them. They could break your dam and very easily destroy your kingdom, very easily. But that's just like, oh, we're just friends. Oh, we kind of butt heads a little bit. There's no idea that we need to protect the dam from them or something like that, because it's just like, what? And then it's more like, oh, we have to break the dam because it'll correct the spirits.
It's because so much of this is, oh, we need this to happen for our plot to make sense.
Exactly. It's just
And
plot convenience.
Granted,
Yeah. Yes.
it's a musical.
Yes.
Plot convenience is part of how those things are written in some ways.
Agreed.
But
Mm-hmm.
this is not a pure musical. This
No,
is
it's not.
still an animated film. You're not held down by the fact that you probably only have 5 sets like a musical would.
Mhm.
You have a lot more to work with. You can
entire
make a
world
better
building here going on.
story if you just work at it a little bit. Granted, yeah, like you said, it needed to bake a little longer in the oven. It's
Mhm.
still a little gooey on the inside. That's
Yeah.
the problem.
A bit.
But other than that, I think it's okay.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think this is both our third dislike at this point.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah, I would agree. The like your great analogy would be like, this movie didn't get enough time in the oven, and it's still a little gooey. Be like, granted, it's a good story, but it's a little gooey. It's not fully. It's not
finish.
It's not finished. It's not a fully. It's not a fully rendered story. It needed a lot of work and understanding. They were under pressure to do this film, and be like, kudos to what they were able to do with the film, but just story-wise execution, there's a little bit of sticky here and there that just needed worked on.
I will say they probably needed another 2 years, and they should have had it because there were 6 years in between the making of the end of the first one
Mm-hmm.
and when this one came out. You had time. A while. You say they didn't start until 2 years before?
2 years.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
They should have known. It's like, yeah, we need to jump on this because that means they were only halfway through making it when the stupid joke in Ralph Breaks the Internet was being aired.
Yeah.
With the Rickroll.
Yeah.
Oh, the Frozen 2 trailer.
Yeah.
It's like you should have had that before.
Yeah.
Granted, I know Anna and Elsa had speaking lines from that other film, but that doesn't change much from the animation perspective of another film. But anyway,
Yeah. It's just like the story.
You needed more time to cook.
Yes, agreed. Completely agreed. So what is your third dislike?
That was my third dislike.
Oh,
I
okay.
jumped in on yours.
Excellent.
That's why I kept interrupting.
Okay.
I
Fair
feel
enough. That's what we do here.
We probably repeated each other to make sure we were understood
Yes.
too many times, but that's what happens.
That's what we do here.
Anyway,
Mhm.
we need to rate this thing.
Yes.
I'm giving it a 7.5.
Oh, okay. So
I don't remember what I gave the first one.
hold on.
What'd you do? Write it down?
I did actually write it down.
because you actually went back and listened to these.
I did. All right. So initially, like, what did you say you gave it?
I'm giving this a 7.5.
Okay. Yeah, you actually gave it a 7. The first one actually 7.5.
Okay. It's I would say that these are probably like right next to each other. I think Frozen 2 is the better of the two films, but yeah, they're pretty much neck and neck for the most part.
Oh, okay.
There is, I think that baking problem is both films have. The difference is Frozen 2 they actually had the characters already figured out. They just need to make a good story.
Yeah.
The first movie they redid it took them till 2 or 3 tries before they realized, oh, Elsa's not a villain too.
Yeah, I would agree. Both films did have issues when it comes to the story.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So initially, Frozen 1, way back 4 years ago, on our first episode, I gave this movie an 8. Give it an 8 out of 10. I am now like looking at this movie like very critically now. I still enjoy the mess out of this film. It does have flaws story-wise. And it's just like you look at it, it's just like that's kind of glaring. That's really glaring. So I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Granted, like you said, we are looking at it under critical eyes because I think you'll agree with me that there is a difference between how we view movies for the show versus viewing them from our own pleasure.
Yeah, exactly.
There are times where we're sitting there watching it and going, that doesn't work, guys.
Yeah.
You should be doing this better. But for the most part, it's like you're watching it for the show. It's like, okay, yeah, that didn't work. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
But we're watching it home for our own joy. It's like, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, well, moving on.
Yeah. So be like Frozen 1, be like story-wise, I believe is better. Music-wise, Frozen 2 is better. Be like there's little give and take that are parts of these films. There again, be like it's a 5-point, it's like a half-point difference. What I view these both films. So take it as it is.
Okay. You want to introduce this next part?
Sure. So what we're doing this season is because I asked a friend named Joy. I asked her if she would be able to come on as a special guest, but unfortunately she wasn't able to because due to work restrictions. So I asked her to put together a small what do you call it?
She called in essentially her
a personal
her
review,
thoughts.
a personal thought, personal review
of the movie.
Yeah, yeah. So we're kind of calling this section call in. So for now, we're calling it call in.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and play it. If you want to be heard in this section, you can either email us your thoughts at the cellcastpodcast@gmail.com in written form, and we will pick the ones we like and read them.
Yes.
We do need that like on Thursday, I will say.
Yeah.
Or just send us an audio file of your thoughts. Be aware that if it's long, we may cut it down, we may edit it, we may not use it at all if it's too, there are reasons. We reserve the right to make decisions based on show flow.
Agreed.
Get right down to it. But we did go ahead and decide to do this. It's about 3.5 minutes long. So.
Yeah, and so tell them where they can send this to.
You can send all of them to the cellcastpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and hit play on this, and we'll get back. We'll see you on the other side.
Frozen 2 delivered on all the elements that we can expect from a Disney film, with their attention to detail and their animation, their catchy tunes and the music that moves the viewer, good dose of humor, and a very engaging story. I found myself tearing up more than once or twice throughout this movie, and not just the first time I watched it either. Really appreciated getting to learn more about the background of Elsa and Anna's parents and their family, the good and the bad, and watching these sisters come together to right the wrongs of their family's past. was really moved by the moment where in Show Yourself, where the music shifts and Elsa begins to realize the weight of the history, and realizing that, you know, what Olaf kept saying before that was just passed off as funny, the water holding memory, and she's really getting to see that actually come into reality. And then when Anna realizes that Elsa could be lost and she's having to work through this grieving process, having to figure out how to take just the next breath, it really was a good connection to reality for the everyday person that deals with any type of depression or grief. It was a film that had a good sense of story and fairy tale to it, but tied to a lot of relatable things, where we had Anna, who is very typical, not even typical, just, you know, normal person. She drools in her sleep and she stumbles over her words, and she is a klutz. She's not put together like Elsa is. She isn't the older sister that's, you know, the queen, and well, even though she does become the queen later on in the end, Elsa's got the big powers, and she's very obviously the main character energy in the story, but Anna is equally as important, and it spoke volumes to me. Overall, I really enjoyed this film. The music that came from it, of course, is up to par with the standard that we've come to expect from Disney. And it's one that I would definitely will watch many, many, many more times, just like I did with Frozen. And I hear that we're getting a third one, and I'm really excited to see what Disney has in store for us next.
All right.
Thank you, Joy Robinson, for sending that in. There again, if you want to be part of our what did I call it?
Call-ins.
If you want to be part of our call-ins section, please either send us an email or send us an audio message to the Cellcast podcast at gmail.com. And the next movie we are doing is
Tron Legacy.
Yeah.
And we are going to have a special guest on that episode, that being Nate Marchand, curator of the Monster Island Film Vault. I mean, he was nice enough to have us on recently.
That is true.
For Power Rangers, the movie.
Speaking of Power Rangers.
Yes. So
Power Trip.
We are letting him, he's pretty much got an open invitation anytime he wants to come on. This
that
is
is
the
true.
one he requested.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's coming on next week for that. But before we get too much farther, we need to play some bumpers. For know about the people we work with, and then we will get into what we've been watching.
Yep.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest checking out the Untold Podcast, which is a speculative fiction podcast using the genres of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror, among others, in order to engage the culture's imagination from a Christian worldview. Every month, Nathan James Norman produces and narrates a new story presented in a unique and dynamic way. Check out the Untold Podcast at theuntoldpodcast.com to listen and leave a review on Apple Podcasts.
The Cellcast would like to thank the following patrons: Josh Adams, Ashley Ruiz, Book of Gaming.
To get your name on
And PaulJPowers.com.
the show, plus uncut episodes, early access to the Cellcast Plus reviews, and special art from Jacob, please donate to us on Patreon.
Jacob, my friend, I have a question for you, sir.
What would that be?
What have you been watching?
All right. So, what have I been watching? So, I've continued watching Power Rangers in Space on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
on their official channel. I think it's Power Rangers Official, I believe.
I believe, yeah.
So going through that, and yeah, Power Rangers is a very silly, corny, silly kid show.
You make this sound like it's a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I grew up watching Power Rangers. Wasn't allowed to watch it when I was a kid for some reason. We could watch Ninja Turtles, but no Power Rangers. Strange, right? But
I was the other way around, but sure.
exactly. So I watched the show, I think when it was airing, I believe back in 98, I believe. And I just fell in love with the story itself. And watching it again is just like, this is like really intriguing storytelling for a kid show that is about 5 teenagers in spandex fighting
It's
big-
not spandex.
Then what is it?
I'm just quoting from the Power Trip.
Okay. Okay.
I
But-
just didn't want to use this high voice like Nathan does.
Oh, next week's gonna be fun. So yeah, I mean, like it's getting into the story, getting into this really good story. Now, granted, if you're hopping just into Power Rangers in Space, it's like, who in the world are these kids? Because you know nothing about them because they don't give you anything unless be like you're Andros.
Go back. Okay, I will say this: if you want a jumping on point,
Mm-hmm.
go to Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, and then go through Turbo, because about halfway through that you'll run into these characters when they do this power switch off.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, as interestingly made as Turbo is, it's actually not as bad as you remember.
Okay.
But that really is the best jumping on point, as Turbo does at least introduce you to the classic characters.
Yeah.
And then it'll give you the introduction to the others.
That makes sense.
Of course, I'm watching it for other reasons, but continue.
Yes, you are. I was looking at it, like obviously you can't see everything, but from behind here, all you see is a stack of like Power Rangers and Super Sentai.
There are things that are here that I can, because my players are here.
Uh-huh.
That's just easy. It's like, okay, pick it up, put it in.
There you
Stronger
go.
than before. Go. Wait, that's Zeo.
That's Zeo.
Mighty engines roar, turbocharged for more. Go, Power Rangers Turbo, go.
So yeah, or it's like I think the Power Trip says we really want to talk about Turbo.
We don't talk about
Turbo, no, whoa. But either or, be like, I'm really enjoying Power
Turbo's not as bad as some other show.
I'm really enjoying Power Rangers in Space. Definitely when it goes down to the great mystery of who Andros's lost sister is. It's very obvious who it is, but I'm loving the story, how they're unfolding it throughout the episodes. And I find that really intriguing. There again, be like having seen the series when it first came out, watching it again, it's like, wow, that is really good storytelling where they're dropping little hints here and there. And it's just like, this is really good storytelling. I really enjoy it. And yeah, I think I'm at episode 14, 15, I think. I'd be like, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I'm really enjoying it. So that's what I've been watching. What about you, Drew?
Well, I kind of already said it.
Well, what be like? What
I am watching Power Rangers Turbo.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I am watching Gekiso Sentai Ka Ranger.
Yeah.
In other words, I'm watching both versions of the same show.
Yeah.
And boy, is that interesting. I don't know if it's because I'm older now and perhaps more forgiving of some of the media I watch. But while Turbo is not great, I've seen worse. I mean, we're not dealing with Titanic, The Legend Goes On,
Mm-hmm.
or
God.
Food Fight, or another show movie we won't talk about.
We don't talk about Leo. Whoa,
But
whoa.
it's not the greatest thing, I'll admit. But it's like,
Right.
It's okay. They're trying. There's some weird parts of it, but it's like I think something I've noticed
Okay.
since we started doing the show,
Yes.
and I've gone back and watched things that maybe I may not have watched before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a lot more forgiving now about
That's
some things.
fair.
I don't know what it is. It's just I think it's a lot of it is because I do like watching goofy stuff, like the stuff you'd see on like Mystery Science Theater 3000 or Riff Tracks. Since I do kind of like that sort of stuff, I mean, it's got to be exceptionally garbage before I hate it. So since this isn't Megaforce, I actually kind of like it. But other than that, I've watched a little bit, of course, of Mobile Fighter G Gundam.
Mm-hmm.
I have been watching through the commentaries for Dragon Ball Z Abridged. And as those of you who tuned in last Monday know, I am actually playing back through on stream The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, I know what you're saying, because I've been bringing up Breath of the Wild a little bit off and on over the course of the past couple weeks.
Yes.
Last Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
I took my Switch over to our friend Chase's house to show him the game.
Oh.
And in my infinite wisdom, I decided, hey, let's see how he likes the beginning of the game. Because, that's supposed to introduce you to stuff. It's a very organic way to introduce a person to the game. It's what it's designed for. So I started a new game for him. You know what I didn't think about?
What's that?
The game autosaves.
Oh, no.
When you hit new game, it starts the new autosave and erases your previous autosaves.
Snap.
Yeah. Now that's all on me. That is not Chase's fault. I do not blame him. That is me not thinking that the way Nintendo assumed multiple people could play on the same Switch, the same game, was that you'd be playing on different profiles.
Right.
I don't have a second profile on my Switch because I'm the only person who plays it. So when I started a new game on that thing, it just decided you're starting over. Now the bad part was I had 70 shrines finished. All 4 Guardian Beasts finished. I had gotten the Master Sword. I had been working through so many side quests. I was working on the DLC side quests, some of which are very hard.
Yes.
And now I get to start over. But that's why I took the advantage of since I was going to want to start the game over anyway, because I want to finish the game before Tears of the Kingdom comes out in May, which I may have to rush through some stuff now, but that's fine. I thought that would be a cool thing to stream and people would enjoy it and I could, have fun. So that's what I did last Monday.
Got it.
Other than that, only other things we watched, while I was over there at Chase's, we watched some Gundam Build Fighters.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. And as you know, a friend of ours is back in town.
Yes.
He was over there that night.
Yes.
And right before he left, we were talking about a certain television show that I can no longer play the intro to because I've already taken it off the soundboard.
Oh, okay.
Because come to find out, he hadn't seen it.
He'd never seen
the original Trigun.
Oh.
So he said, before you leave, you were watching one episode. The first episode.
Yes.
Classic episode.
Yes.
Great beginning of any show.
Yes, agreed.
And he's like, why were we watching this the whole time? Because I wanted to watch Gundam Build Fighters.
Oh my!
So we may be going through that over the course of the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
I don't know about this Sunday because I forgot that the event of the year where thousands of Americans watch a bunch of men in shoulder pads run up and down a cow pasture shaping a misshapen ball was happening this weekend.
It's called the Super Bowl.
It's called the most rigged game in history.
To some extent, yes. To some extent,
I'm
but
just
it's still
saying,
awesome.
you know how technically wrestling is fake?
Yeah.
I'd say at least they have the guts to admit it. I'm sorry.
In more recent years, I would agree with you. In some cases,
I am sorry.
yes.
I
Some of it is kind of rigged.
you know my thoughts on football. I don't care.
Right.
It's not a game I can watch and understand what's going on.
Yes.
To me, the only time anything interesting happens is when that misshapen ball goes through the goal, or when someone makes a long run. That I get into.
Yeah.
I understand that. That year that we watched the game, and nobody scored until the fourth quarter.
Oh, that was such a good game. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you say that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Guess who was bored the whole time?
That was deep bits the entire time.
That was boring the entire time.
Okay, from a guy who played ball in high school, that was awesome.
From a guy who did, it's like, well, you just make a goal. I'm about to fall asleep.
Fair. Totally fair. Totally fair.
You want to have a technical game? You do it during the playoffs. You want to have a game people want to watch? That's what you do in the Super Bowl. Somebody needs to pummel somebody else. All I'm saying. At the same time, I just don't care.
Yeah,
about the Super Bowl. It's
fair.
Just,
understand.
It's another game.
Understand.
I'm there more for the commercials in most cases, and
fair.
The commercials the last couple of years have been pretty bad.
Yeah, agreed.
And by the last couple of years, I'm talking about since 2017. Even before COVID, they were bad.
Yeah,
I understand the ones post COVID why they were bad, because COVID killed everything.
Agreed.
But I don't know what we're doing this Sunday. Anyway, that's what we've been watching.
Oh, okay.
Jacob, what do we got in the news? Really?
Thanks.
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
Why? Thank you, Dealit. Okay, so this one article I found, I had literally found it in two sections. So I'm getting half my information from BBC.com, and the other half I'm getting from animatedmagazine.com. So Disney chief executive Bob Iger has announced sequels for Toy Story. That's 5 Toy Stories right now.
Where could they go after Toy Story 4?
Yeah, that's just like
Woody's not even with the team anymore.
Yeah, I guess it's Buzz all the way, I guess. Either or.
The way that Tim Allen tweeted the other day made it sound like somehow Woody's going to be back.
I wouldn't be surprised. They bring Woody back. I wouldn't be surprised, but either or.
I'm just saying, let Toy Story rest, guys.
Yeah, agreed.
We're done.
Yeah.
You nearly killed it with Buzz Lightyear. Let's let it be done.
Yeah.
Or Lightyear, not Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, Lightyear. They announced Frozen 3 is coming out, which I said earlier. And Zootopia 2 apparently is in production. He detailed plans to turn around its streaming business. The announcement of job cuts announced around 3.6%. That's about 7,000 jobs of Disney's workforce around the world, and are part of a plan to save $5.5 billion to make its Disney Plus streaming service profitable. As Mr. Iger didn't make these decisions lightly. Despite fans' excitement about the anticipated sequels, there is also some news as Iger outlines the company's reconstructing properties of be like they're trying to save like I said before, $5.5 billion in cost savings, which is going to be cutting $3 billion from non-sports content, $3.3 billion from operating costs, echoing the $3.5 billion in cut promised by Warner Bros. Discover CEO that led to the HBO Max animation purge last summer. They're also they're cutting 50% of marketing, 30% on labor, 20% in technology and other expenditures. The first billion in trending is upward. With the goal of completing these actions by 2024, the company expects to lay off again 17,000 in staff. And that is from animatedmagazine.com. So that was the big one. That Bob Iger is doing a lot of restructuring because apparently Disney Plus is not making the money they thought it was, so they're having to restructure everything. So we don't know what Iger is going to do. We know from what we have read, what the information we're giving, there's going to be a lot of cuts. And we don't know how much that's going to affect the parks, how much is going to affect theater outcome, because they're trying to make a profit out of Disney Plus. And I know you've got a lot of streaming services now that are like cutting down on borrowing passwords and the whole bit, which I understand they're doing that. I understand why. But it's interesting what the future is going to be for Disney from here on out with these cuts and are they going to follow suit what they did, what HBO Max did with Warner Brothers Discovery. Only time will tell. Maybe they're not going to just gut their streaming service down just to like certain little things where they can cut cost. But it's going to be interesting. I know if someone dares to say, "Oh, we're going to cut Disney Studio movie TV shows," people are going to lose their wigs. I'm just saying, if they wind up doing that, the Marvel fans will lose their minds.
I don't know. I think some of the Marvel fans are starting to think maybe they're doing too much.
I agree with you there, but that's here or there. We don't know what's going to really happen. But just stay tuned for that information. I guarantee throughout the course of the year, we'll figure more information will be revealed. And so just stay tuned for that. So that's all I have for news.
So you did not see the thing I saw.
No. What did you see?
Remember how I mentioned earlier about plays?
Yes.
What if I were to tell you that there's a movie we reviewed that there is there's a theatrical version of that G Kids themselves are getting the rights to put in theaters.
Really?
Probably through Fathom Events, though that's not been said yet.
Okay. What is this?
Spirited Away.
Really?
Yeah.
They're making. Oh yeah, I remember saw something of that. Spirited Away. They were making a play.
There is a Spirited Away play. I'm sure it was written a long time ago. I'll say a long time ago, at least within the last 10, 15 years. That is being performed and recorded in Japan. And it's going to be put on theater screens. Okay, I may not saw Thor's theater screens. I'll admit that. I am doing a lot of hoping and wishing.
Yeah.
But at the very least, G Kids will have it to where they can sell it probably through Shout Factory.
Yeah.
So the hope is that we'll get to see it. I don't know. I'd like to see it in a theater. So
cool.
Since that's all the news, I'm going to give me a mark right quick. We apparently just got rated by Retro Rewind, which that feels weird.
That is weird.
But thank y'all for joining us. We are just about to jump into our review of 2 of the X-Men the Animated Series episodes. So, yeah, are you ready to jump into that?
Shtick. Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Hang on. Someone doesn't know we're live.
Apparently.
Anyway, so now that we finished all the news, let's go
Mhm.
ahead and jump into our TAS reviews of X-Men, the animated series.
Previously on X-Men.
He's a sulky, over-bulky, kinda hulky superhero. A two-fisted and electrically transistored superhero. An exotically erotic and aquatic superhero. The Marvel superheroes have arrived.
X-Men, X-Men, it's the day, X-Men, X-Men, coming your way.
Spider-Man and his amazing friends, Iceman and Firestar.
First episode of the evening. And that, okay. First episode of the evening is The Cure.
Not the band.
No, not the band. It's directed by Larry Houston and written by Mark Edwards Edens. In this episode, Rogue seeks a scientist who claims to be able to cure any mutant of their powers. But is he for real? Guest cast for this includes Lawrence Bain as Cable, aka Nathan Dayspring Summers, Lally Cadow as Dr. Moira McTaggart, Randall Carpenter as Mystique, aka Raven Darkholme, Stephen Wamette as Angel, aka Warren Worthington III, John Colicos as Apocalypse, aka In Saba Nur, Rod Conybeare as Avalanche, aka Dominic Petros, Graham Haley as Pyro, aka St. John Allardyce, and Mark Moorhead as Cody Madison Robbins. I don't remember who that was. But anyway. Trivia for this one. When Rogue is sitting on the airplane's wing on her way to Moore Island, a man spots her, panics, and flags down a stewardess. In turn, she laughs and walks away in disbelief. This is a reference to the Twilight Zone episode Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, which originally starred William Shatner. And later starred what is his name?
I can't help you there.
I know. He was the main guy on Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh,
Comedian. John Lithgow.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. John Lithgow played him in the movie, played that character in the movie.
Okay.
And then they both played against each other in an episode of Third Rock from the Sun.
Interesting.
Both wondering why is it every time they're on a plane, they always see something out on the wing.
That's hilariously meta.
Exactly. Anyway, first appearance of Apocalypse in this. Angel, Moira McTaggart, Pyro, Avalanche, and Mystique, where they actually have full appearances.
Yes.
Because they did previously appear in Slave Island.
They did. Which was weird.
Especially since Cable should have recognized her.
Yeah. The wild man from Borneo.
Yeah.
And then he quickly turns it to be like, I'm from the future kind of thing. It's like,
yeah,
make up your mind, Cable. Where are you from?
When that happens, anyway.
Yes.
A background character on the airplane is similar in appearance to the man who is removed from the courtroom during Beast's bail hearing just before Sabretooth attacks in Enter Magneto.
Oh, okay.
In this episode, Dr. Adler resembles Albert Einstein and speaks with a German accent.
No.
What are your thoughts on this episode?
I enjoyed it because we're getting into more and more deeper stories, and I enjoy that. Now, granted, by the end of this one, they're still going back and working on stuff, but either or, actually yesterday I was watching this, and I just kind of binged through this one and the next one into the I want to say
doing next week.
The ones we're doing next week, Days of Future Past. And I was just like, I remember these. I'm just like, I don't think this is the comic though, but nuance.
Well, I mean, there are differences.
Yes.
Like, well, I'll get into that more in the next one.
Yes,
because they do use one of those characters, but at the time he was already introduced because it's Angel.
Yeah,
he was introduced in like X-Men #1.
Yeah, agreed.
As part of the original X-Men team, but
yes,
they hadn't used him until this episode.
True. So, like, I enjoyed it. There again. Oh my gosh, they have to go in and use. Is it this one or the next one? I can't remember which, because they both blend together. Because they're
this one ends before the Horseman.
Oh, okay. It's the second. It's the next episode. Okay.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, that scene comes up again. It's like how many times can we reinforce this one character's claustrophobia?
No comment.
But
at least we didn't have another scene from her childhood where she was a third skin color.
Either or. Oh my gosh. But this was enjoyable because it's a rogue story.
Yeah,
it's a rogue story. It's
our first real rogue story
exactly.
so far. We do actually get to see is it this one where we get to see her boyfriend?
Yeah, Bobby.
Where she discovered her powers?
I think so. It's either this one or the next one.
The next one, yeah. Like you said, these two blend together because they are one right after the other.
Yeah, it's just one story.
But yeah, we do get that. And of course, you do always have this is what a lot of people I think forget.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least for one thing. Storm needs to realize that she lucked out when it came to mutant powers because she got the ability to control the weather.
Yes.
Rogue, on the other hand, can never touch another human being without worrying about killing them ever again.
Exactly.
If there's anyone on the X-Men team who understandably would love to find a cure for her mutant abilities or a way to lessen them, it's her. And possibly Cyclops.
That is true.
He has a way to work around that where it doesn't feel bad, or it doesn't. His visor doesn't mess with him like Rogue's gloves mess with her.
Okay, so here's a point that I thought was very interesting. So you have Warren Worthington the third, who is Angel,
one of the original X-Men in the comics.
Yes. So you have him where he breaks these wings out of his back, which can be surprising. That hurt a lot.
Considering he couldn't do that in the comics.
No.
And the reason he was the reason later on when we get to the next episode and Archangel has metal wings is because in the comics
they get cut
his
off.
wheel rings were cut off. And he couldn't fly anymore. And so that's why he went this way. That's why he went this direction. That's why he became Archangel in the first place.
So
became a cyborg. Cyborg mutant.
He's got cyber wings. Sorry, we crack ourselves up. This is pretty bad, but either or, the fact that Warren Worthington II is third. Okay, he's the third.
I don't know why they chose to make him the third, other than Warren Worthington Jr. sounds bad.
It sounds weird, but he is so insistent. Be like, oh, you don't know what it's like because he's got these big, beautiful wings that somehow he contract back into his own back.
It's like, dude, again, you lucked out.
Yeah, you've got wings.
Those wings hurt when you bring them out.
Yeah,
calm the flip down.
Yeah, It's like I want to be a normal human being. I've got beautiful wings on my back. I can fly.
Yes.
It's not. Oh my gosh! I touched someone. I might kill them.
Yeah.
Or I've got pointy things come out of my hands, and I might slice somebody up like a pinata.
Well, we haven't got to that, but you know as well as I do that those claws are not his power.
No, they're not.
Though that bit where they're rebuilding the X mansion at the beginning,
right?
And he's like spreading the
the
mortar with his claw. It's like,
that's right. I forgot that scene. Yeah. Oh my
right
gosh.
as he's trying to piss off every single member of the team. It's like, Wolverine, I know you are a handful under normal circumstances.
You mean a chic
Go
clawful?
down.
Which are into route everybody up. Either or. I love it that we get this very deep emotional story with Rogue. And it's, of course, it's Gambit. He's trying to, he's suave, Cajun self. And you get the whole be like they go to it's not Muir Island, is it?
Well, I don't know exactly how to pronounce it because it's Scottish.
Yeah.
But I think it's like Muir Island.
Yeah, Muir Island, however we pronounce it.
You could call it McTaggart Island for all it matters.
Yeah. And so it's this interesting intrigue of what's really going on. And then it's like, oh yeah, it's apocalypse. And it's like, oh, okay, here we go.
Of course, I'm sitting there going, Mystique works for Apocalypse?
Yeah.
Since when? Oh, well, it's the story. It's early on.
Yeah. And
Magneto's apparently no longer an enemy anymore.
That is actually hysterical.
That's hysterical. It's like he's only an actual enemy in 2 episodes.
That's it.
Near the beginning.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm going, but Magneto is the enemy of the X-Men because that's what it looks like in the opening sequence of the show.
Uh-huh.
I am curious if that particular bit of trivia actually is correct. Because some of that trivia I was getting at the time, I question.
Yeah. So like it's a good story. It's a good Rogue story. And Rogue kind of comes to the acceptance and be like, it's like, hey, there's something wrong with me being a mutant.
Yes.
Be like, I may have to struggle through life, but is what it is. And be like, if we do more like a Christian parallel, it's the idea that like sometimes be like we have this, like God gives us these amazing gifts, as in spiritual gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we're just sitting there and be like, I don't like my gift. I don't understand my gift. And sometimes it's kind of like on scripture, be like, sometimes you want to be an eye, but you're a foot. And be like the way how the body of Christ works. And I know some people are like, well, that's not what it really means. Well, this is the way I view it from a Christian standpoint. So
like each of us have our own thing that we're supposed to be able to do.
Yeah, exactly. Talents.
Yeah.
Talents and gifts and that kind of stuff. So I'd be like in that way, it's coming to acceptance that God created you for a certain task in life, or a certain, be like your mission in life is to do this. You are not to be the preacher. You are to be the hand and foot that helps. But so it's Rogue coming to acceptance of her mutant powers. And then it's then Warrington the third.
Just call him Warren
or Angel. So Angel comes in complaining about his wings.
Next episode, you can call him something else.
Yeah, exactly. so he comes in whining about his wings. Be like, I just want to become normal. I don't care. Be like, I paid for all of this. Let's do it. And then it's like, oh crap, I got myself into trouble.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm into the inevitable or whatever. It's like, it's a good episode. And then you go into the next episode.
Let's hit that one right quick.
Yes.
Come the Apocalypse. Great episode for
agreed.
You're near well, it's a great name for an episode when there's still at least 3 more episodes left in your series at the very least.
Yes.
But anyway, directed once again by Larry Houston and written by Michael Edens.
Yes.
An ancient and immensely powerful mutant named Apocalypse plots to destroy the world to bring, and I am quoting here from where I got this, bring in a newer, more world. I think I had a problem with the synopsis people on IMDb. I'm just going to say with a newer world.
A newer world. And he's not acted or voiced by Oscar Isaacs.
No. Guest cast includes Lawrence Bain as Cable / Nathan Dayspring Summers, who literally shot at his parents this week.
That's right, he did.
Well, not technically. Technically, only
that's
his
true.
father.
Only his father.
His mother
Yes.
is a clone of Jean Grey.
Yes.
Because comics. Judy Marshak plays Pestilence and Plague. Lally Cadow is Dr. Moira McTaggart.
Mm-hmm.
James Millington plays War. Randall Carpenter plays Mystique. Stephen Omet is Angel, aka Archangel, aka Death, aka Warren Worthington III. John Colicos is Apocalypse, aka Insabanur. And Catherine Gallant plays Famine, aka Autumn Rolfson. In this episode, the trivia for this episode, the four Horsemen members are the same members and the same look as seen when they were debuted in X-Force number 15 in 1987.
Interesting.
The only difference is that Archangel was a part of the X-Men team before this happened.
Yeah.
Here, it just looks like he's a rich prick.
Yeah. who likes to throw money at experiments.
Yes. To make me more normal so I don't have to walk around with these big, beautiful wings.
That I can somehow retract back into my back.
Well, you know, when you're rich and powerful, you kind of want to always look good. I don't know.
I guess I would like to use the quote of be like, go cry yourself a river, pull a Julius Caesar, build yourself a bridge, and get over it.
Or just follow the suggestions of a woman from the movie we just reviewed. Let it go.
Let it roll.
Anyway. But yeah, Cable shot at his father this week. I'm sitting there watching that and going,
you realize that you're shooting it.
Nathan, you do understand that you almost shot your father.
They're like,
and
you killed him, then you're dead.
And as far as I can tell, right this second, you haven't been conceived yet, as far as we can tell.
Yeah.
You may want to be more careful where you fire your fancy super future gun. Just maybe.
Or to quote Doc Brown, erased from existence.
Yes. You don't want to. Can you imagine if he had shot Cyclops and all of a sudden Cable's hand just starts disappearing? It's like, what have I done?
It's like, wait, hold on, Dad. Oh crap!
Wait, you with the yellow visor with the red lens. What did you say your name was? Cyclops? No, I don't mean that one. I mean your real name. Scott? Scott what? Summers? Oh crap.
Like he didn't. I was like, well, there again, I know they changed his character or later on in the series. I know that.
At this point,
but it's just like, what the heck? He's walking around with an X-Men uniform, and he's just a bounty hunter.
My question right now is, granted, I don't know the comics from this era at all.
Yeah.
Outside of what I have read. When was it revealed that Cable was the son of Cyclops?
I don't remember.
From the future. Because if this is I'm saying this in such a way where it's like maybe knowing that this is the era of Rob Liefeld.
True.
I'm not saying that to bash on Rob Liefeld. I'm saying that because this is a problem in this era that he was definitely in, and Cable is a Rob Liefeld character.
Yes.
It very well could have been that they introduced the character because he looked 90s and extreme, and then wrote backstory later.
Yeah, agreed.
And so, yeah, he shot at Cyclops, but he may not have known Cyclops was his
father
dad.
yet.
There's a chance that this show could go all the way to the end and he'd never know who his father was because the comics would not have revealed it yet.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Other things in this. We get Apocalypse, a major X-Men villain.
Yes.
Who's trying to bring about the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Because that's his name. So he brings forth 4 deadly horsemen, one of which being, of course, Archangel.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 nobodies we don't ever get to find. We only know their names because they happen to look like the same characters and have the same powers as the characters in the books. Because who really cares about these people who talk like this? I am war, and you shall know the horrors of war, despite the fact you're a military. So you kind of should already know these. And I felt really sorry for the girl who ended up being Pestilence. Trying to get that flower to grow, and she just looks at it and it dies. It's like, that is sad. Anyway.
Yeah. Like the story
is such a straightforward story.
It is.
This
it's so
this
good.
episode.
And it's a continuation of the Rogue story from the last episode.
Right.
And it's so well done. There's actually a meme out there that uses a certain scene in the shot. I'm not going to explain what it is because it's just like, okay, that's the world being the world, but it's like, that's weird. I mean, like, it's a cool shot, but people apply way too much into it. But either way,
that's the other weird little event in this is that Rogue meets Mystique.
Her mother.
Her mother.
Or is it adopted mother or mother?
Adopted mother.
Adopted mother.
The only child we know for certain she had.
The Fantastical Nightcrawler,
and he hasn't been introduced yet.
Yes.
So it's like, at first I had a little bit of it's like, wait, does Rogue not know Mystique is her mother? Or adopted mother anyway? I go, of course she doesn't know. She probably never saw her in her base form, just in the form of the woman who adopted her. So of course she doesn't know, but it's like, Mystique, you want to know who your daughter is? Why aren't you? Well, anyway.
Yeah. Mystique would know, but they didn't write that in yet.
Mystique should know, but I'm sitting there.
Yeah,
I really going, oh, that's interesting. Mystique's meeting her mom. Nobody knows she's her mom.
Yeah. Or going back to the last episode where it's
Slave Island, where Mystique was on the island,
yes,
with a slave collar, and Rogue was Rogue on that episode.
Yes.
So Rogue saw her there, and you don't recognize the woman you just escaped prison with.
She walked past each other
multiple times. Of course, I'm still sitting there going, why would you want Mystique building your dam? She doesn't get strength when she transforms into a big person.
No. She just morphs into another person.
Right. So it's like, it's not like she could, her powers wouldn't help. She should be working in the slave secretarial pool.
Oh, jeez. Let's not get into that.
Yeah, let's
can of worms. That would be, we would get slaughtered for days.
We're already past that episode anyway.
Yes.
Like I said, this is a very straightforward episode because it's like the four humans get assimilated into the Apocalypse Collective.
Like you do.
Yeah. And then they start attacking everywhere, and of course the X-Men react, and they put a stop to them, and Rogue is the hero in this because she's able to actually, I'm not kidding here, suck the evil out of Archangel.
That was like, what?
And now she will have to live with it.
And I don't think it's never brought up again, as far as I remember.
How do you suck the
evil
out of somebody?
She absorbs
may have your stuff, your powers may have somehow broke his programming.
But suck the evil out of him?
Suck the evil out of him.
No. That's not how our power works. This is not how any of this works.
Exactly. Hey.
The first part of this episode was great.
No, yeah.
The second part was like, what?
It feels like we got to rush this because next episode is Days of Future Past. It's a major comic storyline. Bishop is showing up. Hurry! We got to get rid of Cable.
We can't have 2 time travelers in one episode.
This is our time travel is confusing enough as it is.
The whole timey-wimey thing.
Yes, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Anyway,
yeah,
this is, like I said, this is a straightforward episode.
Agreed.
There's a couple of interesting little plot points, but it's like it happens. It's not a bad episode.
True.
It's just nothing really. The interesting things are Rogue meets her mother without realizing it's her mother. and Rogue's able to take down
Archangel
by touching him, which made sense. That's a good use of her power in this instance. And
Yeah.
she didn't suck enough of it out that it caused him harm. It just kind of broke him from his programming. So,
and broke her.
yeah, in fact, she literally started turning blue, which was weird. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, it's a second part. But like again, first part is excellent. This part is like, okay, we got to finish this wrap. We got to wrap this up.
Yeah, because we're still we must finish these in in 1 or 2 episodes
Mhm.
because it's the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And multi-part episodes are just strange in this time period.
Mm-hmm.
Even though X-Men's going to do this a lot.
A lot.
I mean, later on, we're going to get 5-part episodes.
Phoenix Saga.
Among others.
Yeah, among others. Agreed.
But anyway.
Yeah.
You have anything else before we finish this? Next, like I said, next week, the TAS we're going to be covering is Days of Future Past, Part 1 and 2. So join us for that with, of course, Nate Marchand is going to be here. Probably Jimmy also. So.
That's going to be fun.
Steal it. Jimmy is going to be here. No, you do have to be here to record, but you don't have to put up with them.
That is true.
What do you mean you got a restraining order? Well, at least it's only 50 feet. We'll just keep him over there by the other TV, and you can just hang out back here. That'll be close enough. Yes, you can. You are allowed to tell him to shut up if he tries to make out with you.
Make a move?
Make the move on you. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, he really wasn't in that weird a mood when we saw him.
No.
So maybe he's calmed down. I don't know.
Maybe.
Anyway, join us next week for that. You got anything else before we get out of here?
Oh my gosh. Let's get the sneak out of here.
All right. In the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
Follow Jacob on his Facebook. You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photobin, to see his photography. His Letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming. On YouTube at Cellcast. On Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
I don't have a stinger.
Neither. It's more like I was trying to do a Wolverine, but it wouldn't work. Either or.
We'll just do this.
Yeah.
I am Magneto, master of magnet.
Anyone on Twitch, I'm going to raid Book of Gaming. So thank you all for joining us.
Yeah, our 3-hour tour.
an intentional 3-hour tour. We just got talkative tonight.
Yes.
Anyway, join us. We'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Okay, it went.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just got to go over here.